Did it go? Oh, no.
We clicked go live on YouTube,
You're live.
but it takes it a couple of minutes. Chat, how's our audio? This is the part we always trim off, or forget to trim off, the beginning, before we get started, where we just hang out and say hi. How's it going? What's going on? How are you? Happy New Year.
Started. I think, are we a little early?
No.
I think we're, are we not?
We're 0 minutes early.
Oh, wow. We actually got here really early. You're live. Audio is fine. Hooray. Audio good.
There's going to be at least one person that says it's bad.
We did test recordings and they sounded okay. So
Yeah, it's picking up. Woo!
hello everybody. Happy New Year.
Now that we're here, let your friends know that we're also here to drive the algorithm.
No drinks this year.
It's the
unfortunately.
first time you're seeing us. Yeah, that's my bad.
Yeah.
First time you're seeing us in 2023. It's got to be good, right? We do have a lot of fruit, however.
Yeah, I bought weird
Like a
exotic
lot.
fruits, but I was wondering as I was buying them how exotic they would be to most of our audience. Maybe I'm just uncultured.
I said this before, but the fact that you can get them at a grocery store,
They're probably not that exotic.
by definition, not that exotic.
I can't. There's no Asian grocery stores near me. That's usually where you get the really weird stuff. But
I would say anybody in a more major city could get way more exotic fruits.
yeah, that's true.
This is small town America, so you do lose fruit variety.
Selection, yeah. And I don't know how to pick a lot of this fruit either, so it might not be the most appetizing fresh.
If live entertainment and fruit selection is super important to you, I wouldn't recommend Central Kentucky.
Although alcohol, if you're into alcohol, maybe that bourbon specifically,
And
maybe
moonshine,
that's
yeah.
moonshine, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we send that to other places. You can still get that. You could ship that.
Yeah, chat engagement challenge. What are you drinking and or recovering from, given this is the morning after New Year's?
Oh, good luck with durian. I couldn't find a durian. None of the little stores here have that. I would have had to go to the city for that. That was clickbait. Because durian is stinky. We'll drink extra on your behalf, thank you.
Yes, thanks. Sounds good. So exciting. We've got a lot of links for you. There's a link.
Excuse me?
I don't know. There's a link in the
A link
description.
of links.
Are you
Yeah.
having a stroke right now? Should we call the authorities?
It's the link with the links, yeah. And I was like, I don't know how to describe that succinctly without using the word link twice. I had a little bit of a blue screen there.
It's a hyperlink to, well, those are also hyperlinks, aren't they?
Yeah.
A link to a link.
It's a link to a page consisting mostly of links and a place for you to comment and engage.
Drinking a Jaeger right now. Ugh.
What is a Jaeger? Like, what is that?
Like Jägermeister.
No, but I mean, what's the volume in a single Jaeger? Is that a shot?
I assume a shot.
You do just have the pint in your hand?
So what's it? Coffee, ginger ale. I saw something I wanted. Oh, Hard Rock canned cocktail.
I did. Last year, did we do the drinking stream before or after the new year?
I think it was right before.
Yeah, I also think it was right before, but I don't
So that
remember.
means I went through 2022 with 0 alcohol.
I had some back
think-
in the summer,
I think that's true.
but I haven't drank in a little while.
All right. Should we get started with some government news? I mean, links?
News, yes. Or no, links.
This is not the order that we're going in. Like the doc was not pre-sorted, right?
It was bottom up because
Oh, okay.
I made the comment says
Okay.
we'll do the same order that we always. Well, no, because usually we combine them, but there's no reason today. So
Yeah.
we'll do one section at a time, starting with government, which is normal.
Are you ready to get started? Share it with your friends.
Do you want to try a starfruit first or
How many,
after?
how many total fruits do we
So
have?
we have starfruit, mango.
I've had mango a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah, mango is not exotic.
you requested mango.
Yeah.
That's why I bought it.
That's in case everything is terrible. I've got mango.
A starfruit, which is looking a
That's
little
a
long in the
dragon
tooth,
fruit.
or dragon fruit, right? A pomelo.
I don't even know what a pomelo is.
I don't know. I thought this was a grapefruit that was underripe.
That is truly exotic.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Pomelo engagement
A
challenge.
red pomelo.
Have
Let
you
me-
had that? What does it taste like?
Let me tell you a fact that I learned, and tell me if you think this is true or not. I mean, I don't have any reason to question it, but how did I get this far in life What else we got?
A pomegranate. I've had pomegranate.
That's the little
but-
tiny beads.
Yeah. But it's been a while.
Did you know that bell peppers are all the same thing at different levels of ripeness?
Yeah.
That blew
I've
my
grown
mind.
them.
Blew
And
my
then-
mind.
The world's largest, what was this?
Cherry tomatoes and regular tomatoes are the same thing.
A papaya. This is a papaya. Which I've also never had.
I've had papaya before, but I don't. It's been so long ago. I don't remember anything.
So what was
about
the total count? 4?
I have a red pear in there too, because I've only had yellow pears.
5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So we would need to start with 1 then.
Okay.
What are we starting with? Star fruit.
Let's do a star fruit. I have no idea. There's like a core in here.
Krista has a knife. This is not good.
That's fine. It's fine.
Traveling Gamer says, been watching you guys since I was coping in Amazon warehouse. Oh, we got some Amazon stories. Can I get a disgusting from Ryan?
How were you watching us in an Amazon warehouse? They don't let you have devices.
It smells kind of like an apple.
It does smell like an apple.
You know, when you're a star fruit, you can just walk up and grab them by the taste buds. And they'll let you. It's not very sweet.
I got a seed and some pulp.
This tastes like an apple.
No, it's got the savory of like a Granny Smith apple without the sweet.
Yeah, this is just tastes like an apple to me.
This tastes like you took a Starburst and boiled it in water and then drank that.
Ugh. This was transported near a Starbucks truck. No, it's like a softer apple to me. Like
I like
Granny Smith, yeah, that's very...
It's tasty. I would eat it again.
Oh, it doesn't have the tartness.
It doesn't have. It has something. It has a component of the tartness.
There's a lot of water in this.
Yeah. We're going to be very hydrated. Much more so than past years when we just do alcohol.
Maybe you could do this for camping.
It's so soft it would get mashed in my backpack.
You could get a little get an Easter egg, like the plastic Easter egg.
I don't know if I like it that well, but...
Jake T says, "Hi Wendell, thank you." Although, when we get started with the news, we'll read all the monies that you give us at the end.
I'm gonna say,
Do you want to do a tier list? So there's, I think, 7 total.
well, let's give it a 1 to 10 score. Now we're gonna judge this against all other fruits that we've had, right?
Yeah.
Let's set a baseline. What is a strawberry?
Well, strawberries just by themselves are not very good.
Yeah, I like them like dipped in sugar.
I don't think
or
strawberries
jam.
should be the baseline. I think apples should be the baseline, right?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of apple?
Though, yeah, that's...
Red Delicious.
It's got to be an average of all apples. I'm gonna say an apple's like a 7 out of 10 fruit.
What about a banana? Banana might be more... Because every banana is the same, right?
I don't know how that helps us though. Honestly,
It's getting weirdly complicated, like when we count the rolls when we go out to eat.
For me, I'm going to say a banana is 9 out of 10, and I would agree
Yeah.
that an apple is 7 out of 10.
So a star fruit, in comparison to that, I would give a star fruit like maybe a 6.
I think I'm gonna say 5.
It's not great, but it's also not terrible. Like I would eat it again, but it wouldn't be my first choice.
No. What did that cost?
I don't know. Altogether, all the fruits cost like $25.
It's pretty pricey.
Yeah.
You could probably
There's
get.
a reason I don't normally buy exotic fruit.
You could get a lot of bananas.
Yeah.
For the cost of a star fruit.
Although not as many as a couple of years ago. It's scary.
I was gonna get a plantain just because they're very similar to bananas, but I didn't actually know if they taste the same.
They're only good in a skillet.
Oh, okay. So I'm
they're-
glad I didn't get one.
They're not nearly as sweet
Okay.
or soft.
Cody, Mort, thank you. First time
Thanks.
watching a live stream. Been watching since I was just a set of eyes between monitors. Never miss a link streaming to help me get through work. Yes. They help us get through work too.
What is your score for the star
Five,
fruit?
5 out of 10.
Okay. So
Exactly average.
we're giving it 5 point something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't run out and get star fruits.
Not bad.
It's okay.
All right. Let's get started with the first section, which is government.
You should have brought Rue in. Let's see like what fruits Rue would eat.
Rue does not like vegetal. For the most part.
Speaking of foods that animals won't eat, somebody suggested the delicious squeeze things. My mom's cat will not touch those.
Really?
Yeah.
I've definitely bought some cat items that my cats are like, no.
Not at all. Yeah.
At this point, I'm using greenies,
Like food.
just dry food. It's just, here you go.
Why do they like those? They don't smell good at all.
They're low calorie too. I think that's just basically like cat crack, they've come up with.
Cricket
But I mean,
loves them.
at that cat's age and situation, why not just let it enjoy itself?
It is starting to gain weight again, so that's good.
Anyway,
Improvement.
we do. It's rare to start the government section with any kind of good news. This is kind of good news, but it's really just like the bad news isn't here yet, even though we thought it was going to be here.
Thanks, Filthy Casual Gaming. Okay, now you can switch. Last one. IRS delays new tax reporting rule on Venmo, PayPal payments over $600. So this is crazy. It's absolutely insane. This is making it seem like the 84,000 agents that were hired or that are to be hired by the IRS over the next 3 or 4 years are going to hunt down individual taxpayers because it's like, oh my gosh, that's a taxable event when somebody gets $600 in a calendar year. It's not even $600 all at once. The banks had a similar requirement. We reported on that. They got an exception at the last minute too. Theirs was locked in about a month and a half ago. This article doesn't mention that, but the banks also freaked out because they didn't want to do the reporting requirements. But it's coming. It
2024,
is
I think.
absolutely coming.
I imagine they need to get the CBDCs in place first.
Yeah.
That's the reason for that.
The feds have no business auditing your finances at this level. This is crazy.
But they do such a good job at auditing their own finances. How would we not let them? And they're always keeping track of money just down to the cent. Misers, those government people. They never spend when they shouldn't. And Google has a little bit of a settlement payout to pay here, and this number seems like a typo. What? That's shockingly low.
Google will pay $9.5 million to settle Washington, D.C. Attorney General's location tracking lawsuit. There's a lot of really good stuff in this lawsuit. It lays bare a lot of the things that people say about how Google does stuff, dark patterns, and people think they've disabled their location tracking, but really they've just hidden their location tracking from themselves, not Google.
Requiring it. Yeah. Some apps are like, hey, this won't function if you turn it off. You better not.
Yeah.
So they actually do have to change some of those rules, and the EU, as we'll find out later, is hitting them with very similar stuff. So maybe Google will have to actually turn off the location. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm going to make a 2023 prediction. Google will not actually turn off location tracking.
No, not even a little. Tracking. Also, this is not even the lowest fine we got for a major corporation this week.
The Attorney General, the article does mention that some reporters asked the Attorney General, doesn't this fine seem a little low? And they seem to be saying, well, we were going after policy changes. Now it should be easier for people to see their data and see, disable things and blah, blah, blah. But it still doesn't really, your only option is you can tell Google to delete your data after a year. Not, don't do it.
And just like keeping track of money and finances, another thing that the government absolutely excels at is internal security. And whenever they come out and tell us that we're being bad at security, they have every right to do that because they are amazing at it.
Department of Homeland Security can't even secure its buildings against people it fired. So this is, when you get fired, your employee access card still works. And the reason for that is because if they disable your card, it's tied to literally everything. So you won't be able to get your email or come into the building to clean out your desk or anything like that. And then they just sort of forget about it. It's like, oh yeah, I guess you should come get your stuff. And then they forget to turn off your access card. Whoops.
I just now realized that Google Lens thing was just a horrible browser function. It wasn't even part of the web pages we were looking at. Why was that there? And this is, I feel like, did this one even add any new, weren't these already done by the earlier ones?
I thought so, yeah.
This one seems totally ceremonial.
U.S. House Administration arm bans TikTok on official devices. So I guess this is for House members. It was already done for federal employees in the Senate. But, I guess if you're a part of the House of Representatives, you're special. Not anymore.
Again, why would you ever need TikTok on your work phone anyway?
Got to reach the constituents, Krista.
I guess. Do they even manage their own social media? Let's be honest.
I'd say some of the younger ones probably do.
Yeah.
How will I reach my constituents that are giving me lots of money in another country.
And this is an interesting one. I had no idea about this. Now, I'm already a big advocate of if you call 911, you give them the address, you tell them what's happening, you hang up immediately. You don't stay on the phone with them. My reason for that is because I listen to a lot of 911 calls on YouTube. I don't want to be that person. I don't want you listening to my 911 calls. But it turns out there's a much more compelling reason not to talk to those people.
The headline here is they called 911 for help. Police and prosecutors used a new junk science to decide that they were liars. So somebody called about a shooting and police decided that person was responsible for the shooting, for example. And here we are years later in a lot of cases untangling this. And it's like, oh, we might have got that wrong.
Now, why would they do this? Well, it's actually exactly like the Reid technique, which is the interrogation technique that they use. Someone came up with it, popularized it, and turned it into a business. And they are making a ton of money going around the country teaching you how to audit 911 calls and giving you software that will help you do that. Problem is, it's all just false. These people were falsely imprisoned because of this stupid thing that doesn't work. Just like lie detectors.
Facial recognition?
They don't work. So, if you call 911, give them the facts and hang up.
Soon it'll all just be automated with an AI, so you won't even have a chance to.
What's the do not pay? Do not pay needs to add a call 911 for me.
I can't. Do you think?
Pick it from a drop down of pre-selected emergencies.
Do you think in our lifetime we'll see something on your driver's license that's like, oh, you know, this software doesn't work on him. His driver's license says he's neurodivergent.
No, I don't think so. How about, oh, this person doesn't have a driver's license. They have a mental illness.
Automatically in the
Flagged.
I mean, I wouldn't be too opposed to that one. And this is interesting because, we have the headline here. It's deep disagreement. But the deep disagreement isn't like whether or not we should do this. It's, should we take away all of their rights or some of their rights?
U.S. Copyright Office finds quote-unquote deep disagreement on anti-piracy measures. This is the worst headline ever, but I tried to come up with one that was better, and I couldn't. And so this is Torrent Freak also. Basically, rights holders, Disney, wants to make websites have to implement really onerous upload filters that are...
Like YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, we can't even... Because it's not even worth our time.
The fact that we're calling it the Link Show should tell you something.
Yeah, because it just and it's not because we're doing something. It's just because of algorithmic stuff that.
But there is a big difference, and the big difference is that YouTube is a company that's their internal policy.
Yeah,
this would force the behavior.
Yeah, if on this show we were to criticize, the newest straight to DVD releases from Disney with very short clips and critical stuff, it turns into a quagmire of being able to do that, even though that's okay under the law.
Or a new Amazon show. Trying to get that through YouTube's filters was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And ultimately didn't work.
Yeah. It's just absolutely, I don't know. These companies want to be a gatekeeper to sharing culture. Or toll booth operator, I guess, is probably more like that. And that's not just, at some point, your stuff becomes part of culture and you've already made billions of dollars on it. And for the privilege of having made billions of dollars on it, it's going to grease the wheels of culture just a little bit.
They keep telling me that my culture is toxic. Well, when it comes to copyright, as we'll see a little bit later in the European section, the question of criminal results from copyright violations are starting to float. They're starting to bubble up from the swamp that is government. And this might be an issue that we all have to deal with someday if that comes true. And this is a horrible, horrible thing that's been going on for decades.
The FCC can finally hammer predatory prison phone call companies thanks to just passed bill. So if you're in prison and you need to call somebody, it's going to cost a lot of money, an absurd amount of money. Because what are you going to do? Use a different company?
Literally a captive audience.
Yeah, you're in prison. It's not going to happen.
But it's not just that. They also now have programs where you can get email in prison. You pay per email. It's
Video
like
calls was one they mentioned in the article.
tablets. You can get a tablet that's really locked down, and you just pay ridiculous amounts for all that media. The prison phone and tablet system is exactly what the WEF envisions for our future.
Yeah.
In your pod, and we'll give you what's approved, and we will charge you amazing amounts of money for it. And then you can go into forced labor later on. And the FTC has gotten a new thing. We got some good FTC stuff going on this week. This one I was not super aware of. I knew this was a big racket, but I didn't know how deep it went.
The FTC orders an end to illegal MasterCard business tactics and requires it to stop blocking competing debit card payment networks. So, thanks to regulatory capture, you can't legally and be in compliance and be insurable store somebody's debit card number, especially if it's a MasterCard debit card. If something happens, you're going to be out of pocket. Your insurance company's not going to cover you. So to cover that, you get a token to replace the debit card number that's on a per vendor basis. So like if I go somewhere and it's like I want to save my credit card with Apple Pay, they don't actually save my credit card number. They contact MasterCard, get a token, save the token, and the token doesn't work for anybody else. So if it's stolen, only Apple can charge me money with that token. This also means that MasterCard has to okay the tokens, and they don't do that. And the FTC is saying, well, if you're going to do that, you have to also let third-party payment providers convert your MasterCard debit card into a token that you will then process normally, like a credit card, because they hadn't done that previously, unless you were part of the MasterCard network.
And if you store a credit card like on your phone for that kind of payment system, contactless payment or near field or something like that, it has to go through the same process. So where it used to be, yeah, websites had to do this, but that's not that big a deal. Now, even in-person payments can be held hostage to MasterCard. What a great racket. And as we all know now, that if you are an illegal immigrant or if the government wants your information for any reason, they don't have to actually surveil you anymore. There are so many companies that will gladly sell them license plate data or phone data or one of the many ways that you are tracked these days. And all of a sudden, after how many years, someone's taking notice.
Senator seeks FTC probe of data sales to U.S. government agencies. It's Ron Wyden. He's seen what has been collected, and it is apparently disturbing enough for him to say, what?
You should have stopped it.
I mean, it's been going on for years, like you say, but apparently it's gotten so good and so pervasive that now it's like,
Whoa. Let's pump the brakes.
That's really what is going on here.
And here's a story we've been following since the inception of the Level 1 Link show, even though it was called something else back then. It's the Pacer stuff. This is your access to learn the incredibly dense laws of this nation. So anyway, they're saying, hey, here's a set of rules. You must follow it or we will take away your life.
Case law.
But if you want to know about these laws,
Pay
you
up,
have to
peasant.
pay. So obviously that's not the American way. And somebody brought it up and they were like, hey, we should introduce a bill and fix this. And it went into the new budget. But boy, at the last minute, just couldn't find any money for it.
No free Pacer as U.S. lawmakers exclude proposal from spending bill. Oh, you weren't done. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry. No free Pacer as U.S. lawmakers exclude proposal from spending bill.
Couldn't find any room for that. There just wasn't enough money.
Couldn't they just take away the payment button?
It wasn't even that they took away the money. They still torpedoed, because remember there was that project to make the filings free, the browser extension. They're still fighting that. There's other companies that are saying, we'll make Pacer completely free, just give us the documents. They're like, no.
And something that we actually tried to play ball with, like we recognize that we're using somebody else's news links here, creating content from it. Like, why would we hide their ads? That's not the right thing to do. Well, we do it because it's functionally impossible to open 40 or 50 tabs in a modern web browser and leave the ads on without it crashing.
Everything was auto-playing too, so like our audio would be messed up. And
We just couldn't do it. And seems like the FBI, as usual, 5 years later, they figured it out.
Even the FBI says you should use an ad blocker. Bad news if you're an ad agency. You did this.
So they point out the prevalence of ads that are phishing ads that Google somehow can't vet.
Oh,
So
I think Bing is worse. I've gotten some really insane articles on Bing that are just absolutely insane.
And once again, I got to think that this maybe is not really a maybe. It's that, yes, once we get central bank digital currencies, that's when we'll do that.
Senate banking chairman says, quote unquote, maybe to cryptocurrency ban.
Says perhaps to cryptocurrency ban. Mayhap.
So this is, he's the Senate Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs Committee Chairman, Sherrod Brown. So he's not sure yet.
They'll be sure later.
It's weird though, because I mean, okay, I get why they're thinking about this. You look at like, oh, the collapse of FTX and all the people that have lost money and blah, blah, blah. But then also I think about things that have changed in the finance industry since Enron, or changes with the SEC since like the Robinhood stuff and the naked short selling. And there's no changes there.
How about that time that the banking industry collapsed and took most of the major manufacturing with it? And we were just like, nah, just paper that over. That never happened. Just take these taxpayer dollars.
Here, have some more money.
Put them in this account. Nothing bad will ever happen from this. This will never lead to raging hyperinflation in 10 years. It's not going to happen.
Engagement challenge. How has raging hyperinflation affected you, Chad?
I'm spending so much on exotic fruit now.
Yeah.
It's $25 in fruit for this thing.
How many calories was that for $25?
Not many.
That was shockingly
It's
low.
like
amount.
$1 a calorie.
And in Ohio, this is a very, very important ruling. I imagine the appellate for this is not done yet.
Yeah.
We're going to have to push this to the Supreme Court most likely. But for now, if you currently have ransomware insurance, you might want to just save those premiums.
Ohio Supreme Court says insurance policy does not cover ransomware attack on software. This is because the insurance policy says it only covers physical damage, and apparently changing a 1 to a 0 does not constitute physical damage.
Which
The other
makes-
thing they mentioned in the article was like, oh, this is just going to open up a whole new industry of a new type of insurance. And I was like,
Right,
oh,
yeah.
crap.
Yeah, what the article papers over, though, is that this case dates from more than 3 years ago when cyber insurance wasn't even a thing. So once again, insurance companies don't pay out. If there's any possible way for them to avoid
weasel
paying
out,
you,
yeah.
they will not pay you.
And we often don't get to the bottom of who exactly was doing it.
Yeah,
So they can always say, be like, oh, that was a nation state.
yeah,
So we'd have to pay out on that. Oh,
Yeah.
they didn't destroy anything physical.
yeah, yeah. I've handled a fair number of ransomware cases in the past, and in one of them, the State Department literally was like, "No, you're paying Iran. You can't do this." So, okay.
Maybe you should wire up an explosive device so that when there's a breach, your building explodes. And you can be like, yeah, see, there's damage. This was caused by ransomware.
Oh, we should sell that.
It would have to-
Store.level1text.com.
It would have to be one of the dead man switches, though. Like the explosive is constantly in a state of going off, and the piece of software prevents it from going off. But then when the software gets damaged, the software is no
prevents it,
longer
yeah.
there to prevent it from going off.
I can't see any way that would go wrong. Should definitely start that business.
That should definitely make it more insurable.
Although it still might be a better business decision than flipping a home to be an Airbnb home. Because
It's a very popular business scheme. Business.
yeah, but is it good for the world? I mean,
No.
I'm a big property rights guy. I guess you can do it, but maybe not the most good thing to do for your neighborhood.
New York City could lose 10,000 Airbnb listings because of new short-term rental regulations. So basically, Airbnb is saying there's a lot of people that just rent out a room, but there's a lot of people that don't. So I'm unconvinced by the arguments in this listing, but anytime this comes up, and chat, correct me if I'm wrong here, especially if you live in New York, isn't the root problem that there's not enough housing?
They mentioned that in the article.
You just build more housing. It's too hard. There's too many regulations to just build more housing.
Well, in New York, they don't really have a lot of land left.
Yeah, that's
kinda
the thing.
quaint.
Everyone has bought up all the housing, and now they're just renting it out, and then people are sleeping on the street instead.
Well, how many vacancies are there, though? There's a lot in New York City.
But
A lot of empty space.
that was just because what happened in the last couple of years. Like, it's all falling apart. I think it'll fix itself. because there's going to be a catastrophic real estate crash for all that stuff.
I think maybe if you own real estate there, though, you don't realize that. So you're still trying to charge those insanely high prices and people can't pay it.
One of those famous buildings, I don't know if it's in Times Square, but one of the famous New York buildings just went bankrupt because of that. It's 40% occupied.
It was, when I was in San Francisco, it was insane that a city as densely populated as it was, like all the shops at ground level, all vacant.
Now, an interesting rule here is locks on doors. If you have locks on the doors, it changes things. And that's why those Japanese capsule hotels can get away with it. Because you're just in a big room, like a dormitory room. There's no locks. There's nothing like that. So it's like, no, we're not a hotel. We're just...
Is that a hostel at that point?
I don't know what it is. But that if we have to get rid of all of our locks and privacy to get around these laws, who's advocating that in politics? Do you think there'll be a cricket buffet?
Oh, cricket would love that.
Not that cricket. And we have some good news that was immediately turned into bad news.
Reading this was like,
New York breaks the right to repair bill as it's signed into law. All you need to know about this is in Louis Rossman's video. You should go watch that. The man has a way with expletives, I must say. So this was a right to repair bill. The bill itself was pretty good, but it got some last minute amendments that created a bunch of loopholes that allows companies to, one, not sell parts, but sell bundles of parts. An iPhone constitutes a bundle of iPhone replacement parts. And also not provide unlock codes or software for things like where the fingerprint sensor marries the motherboard inside a phone or an iPad. Apple doesn't have to provide repair people with that because of security.
Would we ever accept that on a vehicle? Like not being able to buy?
They're working toward that, really hard.
But I mean, why? The answer is profit, but it's such a stupid. Ugh.
They're making a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
I saw a meme that was really funny, and it was when your grandparents bought an automobile, it talked about how to tune the engine and play with the timings and the belts and all that kind of stuff. When you buy a modern automobile, it tells you not to drink the battery acid.
Well, batteries are what is at stake in Europe as we move into the Euro section.
Battery replacement must be easily achievable by consumers in proposed European law. Yes, this makes much more sense. As ambitious as the New York right to repair bill is, this is probably more achievable. Just make it easy to replace the battery.
This was a thing not that long ago. You used to be able to do that with phones.
Yeah. Sometimes you drop them and they bust apart.
And you just pop the battery back in.
But they point out that the wording easily, like the Apple lawyers will just say like, oh, we have the right to repair kit. It's easy.
It's wildly expensive and takes forever.
But it's also not easy. You got to suction cup that thing off of there, and you got to watch those ribbon cables.
You got to heat it to the appropriate temperature.
Yeah.
It's like, you have ruined your iPhone. It did not achieve the required temperature.
Go buy another one. Also, take our climate pledge.
And we have some mergers. It seems like now is not the time to attempt a merger for a tech company. Certainly not.
EU opens its antitrust probe into Broadcom's $61 billion VMware bid. That's good. It's going to be interesting to see what comes of this.
So they claim that if they get a hold of this, then they could hold the industry hostage because it's so prevalent. That seems true.
I don't know. I want to derail the news for a second because something Krista said about, it's like, oh, we're doing good for the environment. It's not a news story. Did you see that Nike with their new shoes includes a little keychain with all kinds of microplastics in it as an environmental thing? It's like, look at all this microplastics that we kept out of the environment. They're literally mailing their waste to people.
We call that greenwashing.
Wait, so the idea is this shoe is taking microplastics out of the system?
Yeah, because you give it to somebody.
But you're going
to throw it away. Right. They're just offloading their responsibility onto the consumer, which is something that happens over and over again.
It's so brilliant.
Nike's making some weird decisions lately.
I don't know that that's what's happening, but that looked like what it was happening.
Why did this come in plastic? It's got a case on it. It's called the skin. It didn't need to come in a plastic thing.
Usually the skin also has a thin coating of wax you're supposed to wash off. I've discovered that fruit is a lot more tasty if you take a paper towel and really scrub it. Otherwise it tastes a little bit
wasteful.
Bad. Well, here's where we get into copyright as a criminal act. I think that's probably where things are going to be going this year.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a 2023 trend.
Yeah.
And some of the people here at this desk could fall afoul of this one.
UK government, Netflix password sharing is illegal and potentially criminal fraud. They want to criminalize Netflix password sharing because...
Listen, you're not even allowed to have a knife in London, so
Listen.
I don't respect them.
If you got a piece of paper with a random string of characters on it,
So-
straight to jail.
You got a license for that.
So that's not actually happening, but they did talk to some people who were, in power over this kind of thing, and they said, yeah, that seems criminal to me because it's against the terms of service. So now, if a website creates terms of service that you violate, that can be criminal? I do that a lot.
That's already afoul of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act here in the U.S., which that's what drove Aaron Schwartz to suicide, is because the terms of service for that, and the Attorney General for his district came after him hard for that because big company complained that he was taking PDFs that shouldn't have been charged for and publishing them, which is even less egregious than any of this.
Yeah, he definitely killed himself.
Well, he was driven to it.
I'm not even sure I believe that. All right, so Microsoft also getting a fine. This one a little more hefty, but for basically the same violation as Google. The Washington, D.C. fine versus this fine is a stark contrast.
Microsoft fined $64 million by France for cookies used in Bing searches. Basically, when you search for stuff, it got put in a cookie that more websites than just Bing could read, and Bing was kind of retaining them for longer than they said they would.
And we have the big tech companies, obviously they're losing, and so more than ever, they will probably become more and more in bed with the emerging markets, which happens to be all in Asia.
Tim Cook relayed concern over App Store curbs to Japanese Prime Minister, according to sources. So he told the Prime Minister, you really need some sort of user protection in the App Store. Just consider that when you're making these changes, which means we really need to keep our walled garden to protect the users, the same way that we need to protect the users from changing a lithium-ion battery.
And then he quietly handed the PM a $5 bill.
Yeah. It's really... when we talk about the EU and the battery replacement, imagine that the phone is designed to puncture the lithium-ion battery and cause an uncontrolled chemical reaction. It's like your car. If you pop the hood in your car and you start fiddling with the battery terminal to replace the battery, it explodes. And the mechanism is designed to do that.
Would we accept that? No.
I
But for
really-
some reason we do with phones.
Yeah, I really see that the phones are kind of designed the same way. The glue... There's not an easy way to reverse glue. Glue is going to result in battery punctures. It's it's danger to the user because it's glued. Well, that's your fault.
I've told that to the 3-year-olds I used to teach a lot to. Glue causes damage, and yet
Don't eat the glue.
They just pour it all over their hands anyway.
Kids have a weird relationship with glue.
Yeah, they really do. A lot of people, even adults, like to peel the glue off their fingers, which I think is strange, but.
I guess that's like grooming instinct type of...
I guess, but that's so uncomfortable. I hate the feeling of
some
glue on my
primate
hands.
brain stuff.
Yeah.
And in case you've been drinking hard, the French fine was $64 million versus the $9.5 million for Washington, D.C. What kind of clown world is this?
France takes cookies seriously.
Well, I can't... What's the country that went all in on Bitcoin right before it crashed?
Ecuador?
Is it Ecuador?
I thought it was Ecuador. Maybe I'm wrong.
That was bad timing, but at least they started before the bad stuff happened. Not very far before, but now, if you're getting into it now, that's a weird time. Maybe they think, hey, buy low, right? Could be.
Fiji's new pro-Bitcoin prime minister ponders legal tender bill, according to this report. Fiji, it's maybe we can use this as legal tender. It could work. It could work. Okay.
We discovered that the other country had almost no interest in, the people. And we've also learned, did we do the story? I might have just read this on my own. Remember India's official digital currency?
Yeah.
Nobody's using it. Oh, and China too. China just released a paper and they're like, yeah, nobody's using the China digital coin.
One of the stories, not any of those, it wasn't Ecuador either. There was some other country that was looking into using digital currency. And it turns out it was FTX behind the scenes pulling the strings. The FTX people were like, hey, do you want to get in on this? We think we can help you, roll out whatever. It was one of their partner companies. And it's like, I wonder if there are companies like that behind the scenes pulling the strings. Like, hey, Fiji, would you like some free money?
So TikTok, I think at this point we can safely say we've learned that the Chinese Communist Party is looking at TikTok whenever they want. And they're using it for nefarious purposes. So if there is one country in the world where you have to be super careful about that kind of thing, it's Taiwan.
Reuters has the headline, Taiwan investigates TikTok for suspected illegal operations. And then I was like, okay, haha, yeah, more of the same. And then you read into what they're looking for. It's interesting.
It's not just the app there. They're trying to do some other stuff in Taiwan. I don't blame them. I don't blame them for trying to get rid of TikTok in Taiwan. And like I said, India's central bank, their whole thing is not going well. Their official digital currency, but it is coming. They've already announced that they really want that to be a thing. And I think now is the time to kick off the removal of the competition.
India's central bank chief warns crypto will cause the next financial crisis if it's permitted to grow.
And then,
before he was hurriedly India to explore prohibition of unbacked crypto in its G20 presidency.
So G20 is a rolling leadership role. India has it right now, so now is their time to make rules.
So they want to do digital currency, but not
have any competition.
Unbacked digital currency, meaning Bitcoin.
Yeah, they want one that's backed by the rupee.
Yeah,
that they control.
Or perhaps they can get together with the U.S. on some sort of U.S. central bank currency.
And this is one where they didn't offer any hard details about how they would do this. This might be completely fake, but I think it goes to show you how much of a problem Mr. Musk is to these people. So we can applaud him for that, I guess.
Russian arms manufacturer developing tech to hunt Starlink dishes. That's it. It was a press release, basically. There's no other details, but it's sort of interesting that's a thing.
Not the government. It's like a third-party company. They claim they've got the technology, but they are deeply in bed with the government. So, as most tech companies seem to be these days. Oh, all right.
There it goes.
A slow load here. And this could definitely have an effect on your life and your funds. Now might be a good time to upgrade.
Zimbabwe has banned the export of raw lithium. They aim to be the world's supplier of lithium, supplying up to 20-25%. They've got huge lithium deposits, but what they found was happening was the raw material was being exported for pennies on the dollar, and then third-party processing companies were making most of the profit in that industry. So what Zimbabwe has said is like, hey, we're going to export lithium, but you need to process it here so we can get a bigger cut of the revenue, which I don't disagree with.
Yeah, that's fair.
I bet.
I mean, that kind of sucks for us at the end, but that's fair.
I bet a couple of different Chinese, like lithium processing CEOs, stub their toe getting to a phone. It's like, get us into Africa now.
Yeah.
Let's start processing in Africa.
I think what is going to happen that will be bad for Zimbabwe is that companies will move in. Companies will be more than happy to move in so they can start processing lithium there. But Zimbabwe is probably not ready for the level of environmental monitoring and the environmental impact that's needed. And there's probably so much corruption around this whole thing that even if they put really strict environmental controls in place, it's probably not going to work because there's corruption at all levels of the stack.
They don't have those rules there.
No, yeah, they need them.
It'll take them 10 years, though, before they realize it.
This is a dream if you're a Chinese lithium processor.
Because you don't have to worry about anything.
You put the pollution somewhere else, and you pay them a penance, and then you export all the profits. And
that sounds familiar. That sounds like something that happened here.
You can send your Chinese workers over there and send your own police force. They do that a lot. And so you have complete control. And you can do things to those workers that you could never do even on the Chinese mainland.
How is this different than what they're doing already with Belt and Road?
Well, I mean, it'll just be easier. There'll just be less oversight.
All right. That's the end of the government section.
It's time for fruit number 2.
Ooh, which one do we want to do?
Surprise us.
I'm kind of scared to cut some of these. Let's do the papaya. The papaya looks a little worse for wear.
Papaya is up. Oh, we got a few super chats. Some bad gamer. Been watching you guys for a few years. Love your content, especially my reactions to old or to cool tech. Happy New Year. Thanks for streaming at a sane UK time. Brits stuck in the wet and rain. Well, thank you, Boloop. Cybersecurity declassified. Thank you. What cybersecurity has been declassified now? I think we're gonna have a story later where we can talk about the fact that the it was the one we already covered where they don't revoke DHS's cards. The last time I had to work on something like that, the CRL server, the certificate revocation server, is down for days at a time anyway. So it's like, oh, we revoked it. It's like, well, that server's unreachable, so you can't have a deny by default if these CRL servers are unreachable.
There's so many seeds.
Please avoid the seeds.
This is a lot of fruit for one sample. Are the seeds good, chat?
We can't trust the chat on those matters.
Wish my mom, Julie, a happy new year. She doesn't know anything about tech, but enjoys watching you guys because she's weird. Well, excellent. I think she even thinks Wendell's a G&G, despite all his dark secrets. I do have a lot of dark secrets.
These look... So when I looked these up online, they looked more pink, so I wonder if this is ripe.
What is this, papaya?
Papaya. It smells...
Like paper.
Yeah, it doesn't smell great.
Oh, you know what? I've had papaya in like frozen mixed fruit.
Yeah.
I realize now.
I don't like that.
Kind of a soapy taste.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I don't like the skin.
I don't think you're supposed to eat the skin.
Yeah, I didn't eat the skin.
I'm trying to eat the pink
Ooh,
part.
I hate that.
The pink part is amazing. The yellow part is not for eating.
Yeah, I don't think... This might not be ripe.
We should not be eating the yellow part.
We should not be eating the yellow part.
The pink part's okay.
But it's not very pink even on further in. Like, maybe it's just not right. Maybe I got a bad one. I don't know, chat.
It has an unpleasant aftertaste.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I'm going to give papaya a 3 out of 10.
I'm going to give that maybe a 2. I don't care for that. Again, could be a bad one because it was kind of slim pickings, but...
I'm going to give it a pink part 4 out of 10.
We can't. How are we going to process those numbers?
Yellow 2 out of 10. Look at that.
Oh,
Is there another piece that has kind of a lot of pink?
Maybe if I cut into it more. Look at it, though. Most of it's yellow.
imagine being trapped on a desert island and all you had was a papaya tree.
I'd
That's a
probably be
tree fruit,
okay until
right?
about day 3, and then it would be like,
That's stuck on there. It's a little more pink.
needs to be more orange to be ripe. Thank you, Shrapnel.
Oof.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
yes.
care for that.
This is much better. If I just taking a little bite like that, much better.
You're not getting much for your money, though. I mean, I guess maybe if you just let it sit.
Yeah, it's soapy is a good way to describe it. It's
Papaya heat map rating.
it tastes like bland and kind of bitter.
So far, exotic fruits are scoring low.
I mean, the star fruit wasn't bad, but I'd prefer an apple. Like if I had to pick.
I think there's a reason that some fruits are everywhere and some are exotic.
Someone asked earlier if we had pawpaws. Pawpaws are out of season right now. I have some pawpaw trees, but they haven't produced any fruit yet.
Do you want to deposit your? Here,
Yeah,
I've
do we
got a trash napkin.
Excellent.
I kind of need to work the mouse. Let's move up here.
So, chat, what would you rate?
They didn't even
Papayas.
have one.
I might just have to. I want to compost it, but I don't have any more bags. Oh wait, here we go.
Could use the bag of microplastics. I mean, snow.
Oh yeah. From the Christmas skit. We'll take this home and compost it, so it won't go to waste. But papaya, not good. In my opinion.
D says this is like the widest segment, cutting it wrong and eating it right.
Listen,
Unripe.
I don't know anything about this fruit. I've never had it before.
How does that have anything to do with ethnicity and race?
Well, it's probably more common if you live in a different part of the world. Do we have another paper towel? I need to wipe the knife up.
Oh yeah, here you go.
There's one down here.
Back in the floor it goes. Woo!
All right, did you get all the...
We got a couple more. Ben Duncan. Oh yeah, that was. Thanks, Ben Duncan and Ben Duncan's mom. Gizmo gave us 20 pounds. Thank you, Jim L. Gave us 2 pounds. Says, please break up your stories on float plane. That is an editor thing. I will leave a comment for the editors.
What does that
they'll
mean?
do that.
What does that mean?
I think.
Are they just all dumped in one section?
Well, let's move on to the business section. Normally we would do either social or security at this time, but no, not today. We're going through them in the order
So much business.
that they are in the document. And of course, my new favorite subcategory in the business section,
A lot of stories about this.
collapse.
That's it's really going to heat up in 2023. That's a prediction for the new year. Is the collapse is going to heat up?
Now, this collapse technically already happened, but we're going to find out a lot more about it. Although I'm afraid at some point we're going to stop finding out anything about it, and it's just going to be brushed under the rug, which is going to be very sad.
FTX diverted $200 million of customer money for 2 venture deals that caught the SEC's attention. So this was $200 million going into Alameda, basically. And
But then on to other... He was very generous with this money.
yeah.
Like-
But it was customer money. We're not supposed to do that.
Constantly just giving
It's
it
easy
out.
to be generous when it's not your money.
So now what the problem that we have is this is a loan, and they've gone to the other people and they're like, hey, you got to give that money back. It was stolen. And they're like, well, we don't actually have to pay it back right now. This is a loan, and it doesn't have to be paid back till the end of the loan. So we have till the end of the loan to give that back. But it's customer money. So legally, weird situation, right? And because of that, because it looks like, as with most bankruptcies, the people who should get their money back will be the last to get their money back. Some people are trying to be proactive.
FTX customers file a class action lawsuit to lay claim to the dwindling assets of FTX. They've got some money here and there, not a lot.
Now, FTX tried to use the excuses like, hey, we're under federal investigation. You can't sue us. But a judge was like, no, they can. Totally can do that. You screwed them hard. There's no reason they can't do that. And this is a fascinating little thing that's happened, and I wonder if the federal investigators are actually paying attention to this.
Alameda wallets become active just days after the SBF bail. Community mulls foul play. It's like these wallets, it's like, oh, our assets are protected. And then it's like, wait a minute, something's going on.
And they did cover it in the story. I don't know why they didn't put it in the headline. The movements went into coin mixers. So now we've lost track of it.
That's weird. Why would everything go into coin mixers? That
wasn't-
doesn't make sense.
It wasn't everything, but it was a lot of money. Enough to spirit you out of a country and take care of you for the rest of your life somewhere.
Things aren't looking good.
And maybe one of the reasons that you suddenly needed that money is because all of your inner circle has now turned on you. They have turned to state's witness.
Alameda's Carolyn Ellison, FTX's Gary Wang, plead guilty to the DOJ's fraud charges, also settled with the SEC and the CFTC. It's weird, though, because the actual charges are still under seal, and we don't really know exactly precisely what they are, though, you know, the headline here is subscribed that they're fraud, but to what level? We don't know.
Oh, it ain't going to matter because they're going to get immunity for singing like canaries, which is disgusting. And now, done with FTX, let's just move on to garden variety financial
Just
collapse.
rapid fire.
Oh, yes. Micron, they make a lot of stuff that's very important. To cut 10% of its workforce as demand for computer chips slump. Micron typically makes flash memory and DRAM. But there's also another segment of the industry that is collapsing hard. And that's, oh, it's not the next story.
Oh, it still works, though.
Yeah, it still works. Southwest cancels 5,400 flights in less than 48 hours because of a quote-unquote full-blown meltdown. Why? Poor software maintenance. They blamed it on software.
This article kept talking about, oh, it's just bad weather. And I was like,
No.
Yeah, well, the New York Times later did an article, and they pointed out the reason we know about the software thing is because the unions, in every union negotiation for the last ever how many years, have been saying, you have to fix the software. The
It's time for an upgrade. Yeah.
It's making our lives miserable. It doesn't work. It's old. It doesn't work on modern hardware. You have to do something about this. And of course,
They didn't.
they didn't do anything about it.
They didn't until it absolutely collapsed.
Well, it still happened.
Christmas. Yeah.
I mean, they have not had time to fix that.
I had a
That'll take
friend
years.
who got caught in that. She didn't make it home for Christmas. She had to just turn around.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Also, they're saying that, in the old days, they might give you a hotel room and some meals for that. Not anymore.
No.
They're like, no, we can't afford that.
I can't. Because of the last travel that I did, it was like, this is the first time I'm traveling and blah blah blah. And so I did like the first class upgrade, whatever, because it was, I was like,
Treat yourself.
That's surprisingly cheap. No lounge access, no anything. It was not worth it.
Wait. So when you're in the airport, you can't go into the fancy lounge with first class ticket? Who gets that then?
You have to be a member of like the.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
Delta.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to be a lifetime member for like $500 years ago, and it's like I probably should have done that, but that was robbery then. But now it's like $1,200 or $1,300 a year plus the thing, plus you have the thing for the ticket. So it's just like, how about I just don't travel anymore? How about that?
And yeah, in a few years, they're all going to start panicking and be like, nobody wants to fly on planes anymore.
So stupid.
Well, the FTX debacle is might be wrapping up for them, but the knock-on effects still rippling.
Midas Investments has shut down, taking 55% of customers' funds. This is a really interesting shutdown. They basically said, okay, we're winding things down. We've only got about half to cover everything. So we're going to give everybody that's got more than $5,000 with us just half of their stuff. Presumably people that have less than $5,000, they get all their refund. I guess that's cool if you had less than $5,000 with them. Or you get your first $5,000 and then after that you only get half, something like that. I don't know. It wasn't super clear on that. But the situation with them is that for whatever money they've taken, they're giving you tokens, and they're like, these tokens might be worth something someday, but they're not worth anything right now.
Tokens generally not going up in value right now.
No. But they said that they're not. They're just pivoting to something else, and they're going to give you a stake in the thing they're pivoting to. But they're not going to be Midas anymore.
Would arcade tokens or those be worth more in the coming collapse?
What was the one? Oh, was it Crypto.com that Matt Damon did?
Oh, I remember the ad for it, but I can't remember which one it was.
I'm sure chat will fill us in. Who was hawking Midas? There were some famous people that were hawking it, if I recall correctly.
Well, Amazon, they took a lot of flack for some of the working conditions in their warehouses, and they did a few minor things to change that, but they still have some really weird policies that they're getting hammered on.
Amazon cited by OSHA for warehouse injury report failures.
But this is the lowest fine of the week, $29,000.
Yeah. There's some evidence in here that is amazing, but managers at Amazon didn't want to document injuries. They're like, this isn't, you just ripped off your toenail or you ripped off your fingernail. That doesn't rise to the level of anything we should document. And OSHA is saying, we need to know that. It's like, you didn't break a bone. It's fine. It's like, no, those rules don't apply.
$29,000 though, that is just like a slap on the wrist. That's just the price of doing business for Amazon.
Then they do the math of the amount of minutes it takes for Amazon to earn that back. It's just a vanishingly small.
Probably like 30 seconds.
This is why they didn't want unionization, though. Don't worry. There is a major law firm, I think, that is gathering all of this kind of info from workers. It is going to be 2023 is we're probably going to see a worker class action lawsuit that is just incredible, just absolutely incredible. Because like all those text messages to Amazon managers where it's like, hey, the software says you've deviated from the route, and it's like, yeah, I stopped at a gas station to pee, and it's like, no, that's why we give you bottles. Having that in a text message format, thousands upon thousands of times, going to be real bad news for Amazon's pocketbook real soon.
Well, assuming there's enough teeth behind to actually find them the way they should be.
And we have, it's the economics are going down, but pretty soon you're going to have your first earnings calls of the year. You're going to have your quarterlies, and you're going to have to explain what's going on. You're going to have to try to get your investors to still be confident to give you their money, even though your company is not in a good place. How do you do that? Well, you come up with new phrases, new industry terms that are essentially meaningless.
I love this Reuters headline. Lifetime value, quote unquote, is Silicon Valley's next buzzword. So you as a customer, your lifetime value to Netflix is ABC XYZ. That means that, oh yeah, we're not going to make money on you for 5 years, but then we're going to make money.
By abruptly raising the prices.
Which means that every major company's business model is going to start to transition to something that looks like mobile gaming business model.
Yeah.
Where you focus on the whales and you really don't care about the other people.
Or microtransactions.
If you can't extract more money, if I'm a user who pays you a subscription, but I don't opt into any of the extras, well, I don't have a lot of lifetime value, do I?
I did kind of like read more on that. I was like, this is just describing a whale, but it's a kinder term.
Yeah, right. And another small bit of good news, I suppose.
Chipmakers struggle with inventory buildup on demand correction as we exit the thing. Nobody wants to buy anything. And then there's a story in here about, GPU makers suffering. But it's weird, though. The supply chain's still broken. So things that are high margin or historically have been high margin, not doing so good. But things like USB controllers for KVMs, still really hard to get.
Makes sense that they'll trickle down to the bottom, like top to bottom. You make the most important thing first, or the most high margin thing first, not the most important thing. And you trickle down. In fact, they did do that. As soon as they could get their hands on the supplies, they started just cranking out GPUs to meet that demand. That was also a mistake.
Desktop GPU sales hit a 20-year low. The industry shipped 42% fewer discrete GPUs than a year ago. Well, it's the crypto winter, and also the newest GPUs are all around $1,000 or $2,000.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're so outrageously expensive. If you're looking at your budget for entertainment, it's like, ooh, I don't know if I can justify that right now.
It is absolutely bananas.
And we went from all-time sales to, hey, that's something I don't refresh every year.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense. Even though they would love for us to refresh that every year. And their marketing is based on that.
Listen, if you can buy a 3090 on eBay for $500, do it.
And China, as we all know, is they're kind of being sort of locked in their own little sandbox. They're not allowed to buy chips. They're not allowed to export chips. So what do?
The rise of China GPU makers, AI and tech sovereignty drive new GPU entrants. I don't think this article should have called it, Tom shouldn't have called it GPUs. This is all about the compute. See, the sanctions also mean that they can't import these high-performance GPUs. So they're going to have to do it at home. But they need this in order to do AI. They need it to do everything else.
Did you hear something over
Something
there?
made noise over there.
I think there might be a mouse.
Is that a New Year's mouse?
Oh, boy.
We got to name him.
Well, we don't know that that's what it is. It might have just been something crinkling. But
He's like, I wish they'd leave so I could go back to those cookies.
I threw the cookies away.
That's good.
And TSMC, now recently TSMC has been hit with some criticism in Taiwan because the people of Taiwan are like, hey, TSMC, we sure are seeing a lot of press releases about you moving all your production to America. Hey, we'd like to keep that here, please.
Not moving so much as expanding.
And I think they're now doing this press release to let you know it's like, no, we still love Taiwan.
TSMC starts volume production of its most advanced chips in Taiwan. Woo! What was this, 3 nanometer?
Yeah, this is 3 nanometer, but still in question of where 2 nanometer will go. Taiwan would like to keep that as well.
Taiwan number 2. Nanometer.
And the metaverse, I think we could. Do we say the level 1? It's not a prediction, but level 1 observation. The metaverse was the biggest failure of 2022.
Yeah.
What was worse? FTX.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say. That was pretty big.
Crypto. Yeah.
I don't know. I think metaverse is more disappointing than crypto. Crypto does still work.
I think metaverse might, we've talked about this before. I think metaverse will eventually take off, when you have a younger generation who are already terminally online and they're used to that. But it'll take a long time.
It won't be this because this won't.
Yeah, this won't survive
by then.
Right.
But he is not deterred.
Metaverse off to an ominous start after VR headset sales shrank in 2022. This is the one that also mentions the 20% thing. I think we had another headline.
That's in social.
Oh, okay.
All right, I don't know, it might be here, but it's not in this article. Now, this is not just Mr. Zuckerberg. Sony also has the one, and who else? And everybody's waiting on Apple's
Yeah.
introduction, but Apple priced theirs at an insane price point, didn't they?
You know what's always sucks that is left out of these articles is Tilt 5. The Jerry Ellsworth, she left Valve and did this augmented reality headset for tabletop gaming that's laser. And it looks really good. And they always leave that out of this. And I think a product like that is potentially more successful than the metaverse headset with floating torsos.
Well, because that actually has like a defined scope of use, whereas like the metaverse
I mean, you
can
could
be
use
anything.
it for other things, but yeah.
And Apple is so happy with how their self-repair service that's not really a self-repair service is doing. They're expanding it.
Apple's self-service repair expands to desktops like iMac and Mac Studio, strictly so they can go to regulators and see, look, our terrible idea of malicious compliance is working.
Someone posted in the comments of this particular article, they posted screenshots of how much some of the repair parts cost, and it was like $500, $600.
Man, I wish I could self-repair my PC. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Here is like for regulators that are confused by things that are technical. Here's all you need to do. Go to, like in the PC market, look at how expensive a flash-based hard drive is. The most expensive one on Amazon or Newegg. I'm going to buy a 4 terabyte, whatever it is, not enterprise grade, consumer grade SSD on Newegg. And that's going to be what? Like $1,000, give or take, for 4 terabytes. Apple charges more than that for the 2 terabyte of flash storage device. As a regulator, you could just look at that and say, something's not right here.
but Apple will say, oh, we're a luxury product.
Yeah, but you could say, look at this shoe company that sells shoes for $20 and look at Nike selling basically the same material for $120. That's...
Yeah, it's a luxury.
But you're going to upend the entire economy if you start doing that.
Well, it's not. I can only use Nike brand socks with these shoes. That's a problem.
Don't buy it.
Yeah.
If you buy Apple products, you deserve what you get. You're an idiot. And if you buy Apple products, you are also a racist. Yes.
Apple Watch sensor has a racial bias, claims new lawsuit. So it turns out the pulse oximeter sensor can't see through dark skin.
Yeah, it's something about like the waves of light it tracks. It struggles with darker skin because it reflects it differently.
Now, they have a pretty good argument here, which is to say, when I picked this up and I looked at the box and I looked at your advertising material, it said it had these features. But it doesn't have these features for me. Mm-hmm. You should get a refund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't work as advertised.
And for all of you with disposable income, right? Everybody's got extra
Just money to throw away. Yeah.
So much money that you're going to go like double what you actually need for your monitor.
The 240 hertz OLED gaming displays are coming. Asus, Corsair, and LG have all announced that new speedy OLED gaming monitors will be unveiled at CES in like a week. Yeah. One of the ones mentioned here, the Corsair Xeneon Flex, that was in my AMD 7900 XTX video from their coverage. They had a prototype of it there. It's configurable, like you can make it curved or not curved. I think I would probably set it to be not curved and never touch it again. Is anybody going to like constantly switch between curve and not curve modes? That seems weird.
Yeah. Well, it's like the folding thing where it's like who wants this functionality? But
And Nintendo, I think they have taken a look at the economy and the spending power of their customers, and they made a very quick decision.
Switch Pro reportedly canceled as Nintendo shifts focus to next-gen console. Everybody can go outside again. They don't need this.
But you can take the Switch with you outside.
It's hard to use a Switch on a treadmill. I'll tell you that.
And I guess the march of the EVs will continue, even if we've learned that they don't work in cold weather. Which is, it's a thing that they have a lot of over there.
I have an alternative headline. Electrek's headline is Tesla Model Y is now the best-selling car in all of Europe. The alternative headline is the Tesla Model Y, being the best-selling car in all of Europe, tells us how bad all of the other models available in Europe are.
But also because they're making all the other cars illegal in Europe. It's a hell of a market edge that you can get from that. Although, there's got to be a better choice, right?
I think every other company's so far behind right now. I think that gap is closing rapidly, but
I didn't add this story, but somebody told us that this was a profitable movie now, which just
who cares about this?
boggles my mind.
Yeah.
Now, I've not seen the first one, so maybe I just don't know what I'm
The
missing.
first one's not that good.
But
It's a very pretty movie.
we're talking about Avatar, of course, and there were some other issues with Avatar.
Avatar's sequel's cutting-edge tech crashed some movie projectors in Japan. One theater had to lower the 48 FPS frame rate down to 24 FPS.
It's a variable frame rate. So like action scenes are 48 FPS, and then like dialogue scenes, like slow stuff, is 24.
Don't we as humans have an aversion to really high?
Yeah, a lot of
Frame
people were
rates?
saying it kind of feels a little bit like a video game cutscene during the action sequences.
Because we got used to that. That's why they remember when they were trying to sell us this, like, hey, you don't need 60 hertz on your monitor. That's cinematic. So it actually does. We're used to the lower refresh rate, and we see that it's like a soap opera. You ever watch a soap opera?
Yeah. The Hobbit, though, so The Hobbit tried to do 48 FPS when it released in theaters, and it looked awful.
Did it look soap opera?
Yeah, it looked very weird.
It's a weird decision. Huh?
Yeah.
Is that just like somebody being like, well, more is always better?
I guess they're trying to push it forward, which is interesting. Aesthetically, I just don't like it. There's no good reason for it. I just don't like it.
Well, when it comes to a visual media, I mean.
Yeah, but usually when you're critiquing visual media, you should have a better reason beyond, I just don't like it.
It's a valid reason for me. I just don't like it. I also don't like Tencent. I mean, there are some good reasons, but they don't affect me. But I still don't like them.
Tencent chief blasts managers in fiery town hall, according to sources. They're feeling the economic strain, and there are going to have to be some staffing changes.
But it's because the CCP banned gaming. They won't license new games. It's a game company. So they're like, yeah, we're going to have to switch over to, what do they say, like online streaming content or something like that?
Something that can make use of video compression and that sort of thing.
He had a great quote. It was like, some of you have unprofitable sectors in this business, and I see you out having fun on the weekend. No fun allowed if you're losing money.
Ooh.
No spending time with your families. And the Activision-Microsoft merger, pretty much everybody except Activision and Microsoft is against that. And now people are so angry that they're taking private action.
Video gamers sue Microsoft in U.S. court to stop Activision takeover. The video gamers are coming out at it. No, they're going to take my cod blocks. No.
Something about the phrase video gamers sounds weird to me, but it's technically correct, but it doesn't sound right. Video gamers.
It could
You
be
should say
tabletop gamers.
I guess, yeah.
This Microsoft was like, hey, we're already getting sued by the government for this. You can't sue us twice. So they appealed, but the judge was like, no, they totally can. Everybody can sue you.
Yeah.
Our customers are suing us because we're going to make our product worse.
And Microsoft has been snapping up everything, well, trying to snap up everything that they can. They really want to acquire things. The governments are not letting them, so I guess you just keep trying.
Netflix will be next on Microsoft's shopping list, based on a couple of fairly unsubstantiated things.
Well, they point out that Microsoft has people on the Netflix board. They've already partnered up on some stuff. Microsoft has announced they want like a
streaming platform
with video games type of deals. So
Can you imagine Netflix's picker being as bad as the Microsoft store for apps?
what that would give Netflix is exclusivity on all the intellectual properties if they wanted to make Microsoft games, right?
Yeah.
Or Activision games if they get away with that.
Or adaptations of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that kind of thing, Sherlock Holmes, fully out of copyright now. Woo!
That's actually kind of exciting. There's been a lot of adaptations of that. I thought it already was. Is that only certain stories had been out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we get Steamboat Willie this year, right?
Is
Well.
it later? Is it this year? No, I think it's next year.
Is it next year? Yeah, but then the question is,
Disney's got a year.
how do you separate Steamboat Willie from Mickey Mouse? How do you prove that your thing is Steamboat Willie? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Disney's going to try to mutate copyright law into trademark law, or trademark law into copyright law, and trademark Steamboat Willie and use that for perpetual protection. But we'll see. That seems some lawyers are like, no, that'll never happen. And the Supreme Court's like, what are you trying to do here, Disney? At least in a couple of rulings they've already issued.
We have a relevant story about Mickey Mouse later.
Yeah.
And Amazon, these are all the same arguments that we've seen against them. It has to do with looking at their third-party sellers' data, using that to crush them, putting the buy now buttons only on their own stuff, search results, and so forth. All that's been bundled up, and it looks like they might actually have to change things, but only in the EU.
Amazon to make big business changes in EU settlement. Mostly to the aforementioned things.
Yeah, pretty much. How can we ever trust them that they're not using the third-party data, though? Like, how would you audit that?
You could.
You don't.
No.
Yeah. And then in a few years, we have another lawsuit like this.
And it's a small penalty.
Right.
And they happily pay it.
It's the cost of doing business.
Yeah, they keep getting it. And Amazon, they're getting a lot of the streaming viewers because they give theirs away with their other stuff, obviously. But the big thing about streaming, and I know that you two guys are constantly complaining to me about this. You're like, we need live sports content.
Yes, absolutely.
If Christy can't watch college football, you don't even want to be around her on the weekend. So this might be huge for you.
Amazon planning standalone app for sports content. The information.
They invested in, was it the NFL or something? They did a football thing because I saw ads for it everywhere. That must have panned out really well for them if they're looking to do this.
Yeah, it's weird though that they're trying to pull that away from the rest of the streaming service.
Yeah, I would think you would want to drive everybody to Prime.
And you already have an app for that. Why create a new one? It must be because they want 2 subscriptions now, right?
Do you think it'll be more or less than 5 years where we see an AI company start up and offer live sports broadcast video for way cheaper than the incumbents, and it's completely built with photorealistic AI, like based on the plays and the stuff that's happening, maybe satellite footage, and it just reconstructs the game as it's happening.
It's kind of like, FIFA's almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the sports people are powerful enough they would stop that immediately.
More or less than 5 years.
Or you would get terms of service when you buy a ticket. When you go into the building, you would sign terms of service that say you can't broadcast any details about the game.
There have been 1 or 2 cases where somebody has been ejected from a stadium by doing their own commentary on the thing, like an Instagram streamer or a TikTok streamer or something was streaming their commentary on the game to other people. Like they weren't watching it; they were just calling it what they see. They weren't sending anything else other than their voice. And they were like, "No, you can't. You're trespassing. You have to leave."
You're trespassing.
So I don't think that's right.
Yeah, well, all the people that own those buildings do.
Sport ball.
And you agreed to it when you bought those tickets because you bought them online through Ticketmaster and you agreed to the terms of service.
Terms of service, yeah.
Well, now we have some of this news. You're thinking, wow, this is even staler than usual. Yeah, it is because we took the 2 weeks off. And then we had the big snowpocalypse, the freeze here.
Everywhere.
And,
it was like the whole, half the country was frozen.
Well, not the whole country, but most of the country was in a deep freeze. Electricity, a little dicey. I was fine.
Mine also stayed on, which surprised me.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was getting ready to break out the propane, but it was kind of okay. That was not the case everywhere.
Yeah, the voltage was running really high. The servers are not happy.
Some people lost power, and there were emails that went out that was like, "Hey, please turn off your extra power."
Yeah, we got one of those.
Or there's going to be rolling blackouts. Apparently, a lot of people listened.
Bitcoin hash rates dropped nearly 40% as deadly U.S. storm unplugs miners.
Did you see pictures coming out of Buffalo? Do we have any fans in Buffalo, New York?
Right now, there's no one watching in northern Arizona. I'm so sorry. Hope you're okay.
What happened
Blizzard.
Another one?
Yeah.
Wow.
Buffalo got absolutely smashed.
Yeah, it was insane seeing some of the posts coming out of there.
It's not uncommon for Buffalo to get smashed by a storm.
But this was insane. Yeah, this was
worse.
big even for them.
And finally, we have Waze, which I used to use until, of course, they were like, no, this will not operate without your location being turned on. You must have your location. Kind of makes sense for this one, though.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to make the trade.
Waze tests new alerts warning drivers about roads with a history of crashes. A new beta release of Waze can notify users of dangers nearby. Roads based on traffic data while trying not to overwhelm them with alerts. It's funny. the Waze may have better data on traffic crashes than the National Highway Traffic Safety thing for fender benders and minor crashes like that, because often that kind of stuff's not really tracked unless you call the police out, which a lot of people don't. Well, that's the end of that section.
Oh, let's find some fruit.
Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to grab your friends and do that kind of stuff. And Mike Quinton, when will we see another Krista Garden tour?
Probably not for a little bit. Oh, here, let me get in the mic. Probably not for a little bit because it's winter and there's not much to see. I might do like a winter tree identification thing if anyone's interested in that.
Jonathan Briggs says, Level 1 engagement minus. Happy New Year, and thank you for your continued commentary. Thank you, kind supporter. Gethin Hooper. Hi, guys, from Surrey, England, in the UK.
Hello.
How many fruits we got left?
4.
Oh, okay. We're gonna have to do a really short section.
Do a pomegranate. I actually don't know how to cut this.
Engagement challenge. How do you cut a
You just cut
pomegranate?
it in half.
Is that a Wikipedia thing?
Do we eat the little? Are the balls in it seeds, or is that the part we eat?
Is there a
What's the
Wiki?
part you eat?
Is there a
Haven't
Wikipedia
you read Greek mythology?
for like basic life stuff? Like, if your toilet is overflowing, shut off the water.
YouTube. You can give me that.
No, just like in Wikipedia format where it's all organized. You can just start reading.
I might need a spoon for this.
Just quarter it, and then we can. It looks pretty nasty.
Yeah, it doesn't look great.
Dr. Cuttress is here. Welcome. How's it going? Is it almost bedtime in the UK? I don't know. It's
Very
like,
messy.
what is it? Plus 5 hours? It's like 8 p.m.
What? You don't look happy about it.
It looks like phlegm.
I don't know. I've had pomegranate before, but it's been a long time.
So we eat the little pieces, right?
Yeah, and then if you eat a certain amount, then you stay in hell for a certain number of months.
The seeds are crunchy.
Better than star fruit.
Just eat the seeds, says Chow. Okay. They didn't want us to stay in hell, though. They're
I
working
don't
for
think you're
Hades.
supposed to bite into it.
Yeah, I think you just eat the seeds.
You're eating
the pulp.
the webbing part. This would be a good snack for forcing you to eat slowly.
Some people say eat the flesh. Sorry, we don't know. This is exotic for us. I never buy pomegranate.
These are seeds, right?
Vanessa
tastes like
Stoller
seeds.
says, Happy New Year. Last super chat, I was about to be unemployed. Found a job right away, landed on my feet. 2023 is going to be even better than ever. Well, congratulations.
Don't let your guard down.
don't let your guard down. And, use this channel to level up your skills or whatever. I don't know.
Pomegranate's not bad.
Yeah, I don't mind this. I feel like it's not worth the effort to eat. But this is my memory of it. I had it in college because my roommate was like, I want to try a pomegranate. So we bought one. And then we were like, this is okay.
The seeds are much better than the thing that I took a bite out of.
Yeah.
There's like that membrane. I imagine you could probably... Oops. You could probably get these chunks of seeds out somehow.
Ooh.
There'd be a way to improve eating this.
Oh, that was a little bitter. It's not bad.
But you are eating seeds.
Yeah.
This is like the worst part of a blackberry.
White is bitter. Yeah, I just got that.
We don't need to bring race into this.
You can get palm juice. I've seen that. That's also really expensive. So just as people are like, I can't believe you've never had this before. It's like, these are weird fruits. These aren't things that are inexpensive where we live. So you don't buy them.
It's
very
also
often.
not that great.
It's okay. I would rate it higher than the papaya, but the papaya was probably not in season.
This is number one right now.
Yeah.
Hassan
definitely-
Ali says, Happy New Year from Australia. Thanks for keeping all updated on stuff and happening throughout the year. And be careful of the stains from the pomegranate. Yeah.
Do we have a paper towel floating around somewhere?
They used to make dyes from pomegranate.
Oh, chat says if you remove all the seeds, like scoop them out with a spoon and put them in a bowl, that's a good way to eat them. Yeah, that seems like that would be quicker than This I should have grabbed a spoon before we started.
Well, we don't need to eat a bunch of them. We're just testing.
We're just testing. These will be composted though.
West Trash says some Ordinary Games needs help with the virtual machines on Thunderbolt on Ryzen 7000. Okay, let me know. Nori SS says, Ryan, whatever happened to those sweet button-down shirts you all used to wear?
Somebody needs help with tech support. Send a money order. I'll switch to these shirts. I still have those shirts, but these shirts are way more comfortable. These poly blend.
Irving Chai says, don't let that stain on your clothes. It stays permanently in some fabrics. Greetings from Mexico.
Oh, I got some on my jeans.
Oh,
Whoops.
no. The sweater's ruined.
You're doomed.
No.
This isn't bad. Maybe not worth the effort. Or like, it would be probably better with a spoon.
I'm going to give pomegranate 7 out of 10.
The seeds are, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, 7's right. If it was in a more convenient format, also the possibility of sending you to hell. So,
Where are you getting that from?
the Greek myth, Persephone.
Oh,
She was given a pomegranate by Hades, and then for each seed she ate, she had to spend a month in hell, and that's why we have winter.
That's not even that bad.
Chat, and you thought we were literate.
Oh, I need another paper towel so I can wipe the knife.
We got lots of paper towel rolls floating around.
Yeah, earlier I was like, I can't find any, and then they're just everywhere.
But they're all almost out.
Woo! Nope, time to change my coffee for water.
Pear's better with pomegranate.
Did we make a note of our score for pomegranate?
Yep.
Pomegranate is king so far.
Woo! Okay, what's our next section?
It's a very, very, very small section of social media. Not a lot to talk about for social media. They didn't do much these past couple of weeks. But let's talk about YouTube. And YouTube has this thing where they want kids on their platform so they can sell ads to them. But there's a rule about not tracking.
Suit accusing YouTube of tracking children is back after an appeal. The premise for the lawsuit is, how are you not? And there was a lot of legal hoedown swear dancing, and the court was like, okay, I guess that's believable. But then the appeal was, but how are you not? And so it's back on.
And
you have to at least track children to know who the children are, right? Check and mate.
And the Twitter debacle continues to play out. That's the weirdest thing. 2 weeks of news there. I did not find a single major news story about the Twitter files. Nobody covered it.
What about the loss of $200 billion?
Who lost $200 billion?
What about the fact we also didn't include the story about how apparently all the janitors have been fired, and the office stinks now.
And everybody has to bring their own toilet paper.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
He's making some mistakes, no doubt about it. And some people have claimed to have left. I don't know. I still see everybody on Twitter, but they mostly, it seemed, went to Mastodon, who was then, of course, immediately under siege by the same people who wanted control of Twitter.
Twitter rival Mastodon rejects funding to preserve its non-profit status.
That's some incredible integrity, because if someone came to me and was like, I'll pay you millions, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, but even though they're nonprofit, I'm sure that person still gets a great salary from their position. So I think that's a smart move.
Yeah.
Stay in control. I mean, that's the mistake that Twitter made, right?
Yeah.
They gave up control.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the boiler snake is here letting us know.
The first boiler snake of the year.
He has a lot of opinions about Mastodon and Twitter. He's on both.
He's got a lot of alt accounts on Twitter.
Yeah.
And TikTok, as we know, is under siege from various government agencies and so forth. It turns out that the government also, other than just banning TikTok, gives a lot of money to other organizations who are now, out of fear, also going to do that.
Some universities are now restricting TikTok access on campus.
University of Oklahoma, Auburn, and Alabama.
I tried to find, so I went on some different social media sites and then looked up Auburn University TikTok, like just trying to find like students reacting to it. And most were just like, there were a few people who were angry, but most people were like, okay. But I couldn't find a lot of reactions, which sort of surprised me. I figured it would cause more of an uproar.
I'm sure there's some young thoughts with TikTok accounts, right? I guess it
A
wouldn't
lot of
necessarily.
kids have TikTok accounts.
It's not going to affect you then, right? Or
No, like the students can't access it either. If
Is
not
that-
through the Wi-Fi anyway.
yeah, but your phone has
Right.
phone service, so you just switch off. To
Maybe that's why I didn't see a lot of people complaining about it. but-
easy to get around. Yeah. But it's TikTok. The thing about TikTok is every denial that we've heard from TikTok about the reason they shouldn't be banned seems to systematically be shot down.
Yeah.
Forbes has this exclusive, so they say. TikTok spied on Forbes journalists, and they lay it out here. And oh boy, this is pretty spicy.
Yeah. So Forbes ran some stories about the CCP having access to TikTok,
Which
through
they looked at.
through the back end, and they were watching, and they didn't like it, so they used TikTok to spy.
And the journalists found out about it and then they posted about it. My favorite part of that article, though, was the sort of trickle truth from TikTok where, like,
Yeah.
we didn't do it. And then, well, maybe we did it. We only did it to this one journalist. And then it was like, oh, actually, we did do it to everybody. Sorry.
TikTok, I feel like what they would like to say is, listen, guys, that's not something we can say no to.
Yeah.
But they can't say that. So they're kind of stuck trying to be the White House press secretary. It's like, I have to peddle these lies. You guys understand that, right? This is my job. And here is, now we've seen some shockingly low fine numbers this week. And this one, not shockingly low, but commensurate to the offense,
Yeah.
still shockingly low.
Facebook parent Meta to settle Cambridge Analytica scandal case for $725 million. Now, you might remember from the last time we covered this, they were going to settle for $10 billion. I think that still applies. This is just the last little chapter of the Cambridge Analytica scandal.
It was a great book, but the last chapter, not that exciting.
Yeah.
Just kind of ties up some loose ends.
And this might be what you were talking about earlier when you wanted the follow-up story. We learned that one of the biggest failures of the year was Metaverse, and it has not resulted in anything. It certainly isn't selling VR headsets, but of course, they will continue.
Meta to dedicate 20% of next year's spending to building the metaverse. We must build the metaverse. Okay.
That seems like it's 20% too high.
Might as well just probably flush that 20%.
Yeah.
And the big question here, I think, is will they allow adult content? That's going to make or break it.
Tumblr is launching a live streaming feature.
Do people use the Tumblr app? That's my question.
Does it have to be on the app? Oh,
says,
yeah.
yeah.
I was saying it, yeah. I don't know anything about Tumblr. I don't care anything about Tumblr.
Tumblr used to be a lot better, and then it became much harder to browse because they just put crap randomly.
All right, that was a short one. We're going to have to switch into another fruit immediately.
What fruit are we having now?
Let's try the dragon fruit. I also don't know how to cut this one.
Do you just peel it? How do we eat dragon fruit?
I
Chad?
don't know. If we were playing Don't Starve, you would put it in the crock pot with other fruit items, and then you'd get a dragon fruit pie.
Now, does this dragon have elemental magics, or
No.
is it just a regular dragon?
This is a pink one. There were yellow ones too. I don't know what the difference is. I'm just gonna cut it down the middle like a moron. Oh, it's pretty.
Oh, this one you're supposed to eat with a spoon.
Oh,
I
is it?
I have had this once before.
Was it good?
It was pretty good.
We'll just cut slices and then cut them in half, and we can eat it like a.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Like, do what you're doing, but then bisect. Yeah, there you go. Cut that in half, and then we can hold it by the edge.
Oh, okay, like a rind.
The one that I had was the middle part was actually kind of runny, so it was hard to do that.
Yeah, I'm not sure again how to tell ripeness on any of this, so. Stop organizing stories and eat
Hang
your
on,
fruit.
I got 2 more clicks. It's an interesting looking fruit.
That's pretty.
Ooh, that's nice.
That's not bad. It's more naturally sweet than some of the others we've tried.
Yeah, this tastes like pure sugar. I love it.
The texture is weird.
It's sweet, but also feels like it has like almost a peppery kind of aftertaste. It's a little bland too, I think, but that might be my. I'm still on the sugar, so I don't. Everything tastes a little blander to me.
And that tastes very sweet to me.
I would feel like I would like to have this in oatmeal.
Yeah, this would be a good smoothie filler too. Yeah, this is sweet.
Dragon fruit oatmeal, I think, is the thing. These are expensive, right?
I didn't look at. I just got. I know 25 was the whole order, but I don't know. I'd have to look at the receipt.
We actually did look for durian, but I didn't have any.
Yeah, I would have had to go to the Asian market in the city for that, I think.
Should make an ice cream with it. I bet this would be good with not ice cream, but the shaved ice. That shaved ice like they do in Taiwan. It's really good. Well, it's because it's just fruit with a little bit of, ice with a little bit of milk and fruit. Tiny little bit of milk.
I'm gonna give dragon fruit an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say solid 8.
I think
That'd be like, it'd be good mixed with other things too, like oatmeal. You said.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 just because apples are 7 out of 10.
that's what I was about to say. In hindsight, we went too high originally.
Yeah.
Papaya, I think, is more like a 3.
I put papaya low on my score.
What was the first one we ate? Starfruit. Oh yeah, starfruit was maybe more of like a 4. Papaya more of a 3. Dragon fruit realistically probably is a 6 or a 7. But of the fruits today, I'm gonna say it's number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see why this is one of the rarest fruits in the game, and don't starve now.
Can I have another slice?
Also visually appealing.
I'm going for more. More, chat. How exciting is that? Has anybody gotten into any really crazy 2023 adventures so far?
It's just 24 hours in.
My mom's cat has a urinary tract infection, and she's got medicine for it now, but good lord.
You want 2 pieces or just 1?
I'll take 2.
Do you want another piece?
Nah, I'm good.
I think I'm good too.
Just save room for what do we got? 3 more?
Oh, are we out of paper towels now?
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
I'm gonna grab one for myself.
Did you buy we have a pomelo, I think. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it. That's
ProCD says cut a pomegranate into halves and then bend the cut pieces outward and hit it with a wooden spoon into a mixing bowl. It is way easier to eat with a spoon this way. Oh, well, thank you.
We're learning. We're being educated today.
We don't have a bowl or a wooden spoon.
The other fruit I wanted to get, but it's just out of season, like barely a month, is shoot, I can't think of the name. Persimmon, American persimmon. That actually grows around here, and I have a tree in my yard, but all of them have fallen off already. I really like persimmon.
Maybe we'll have to do seasonal fruit.
Yeah, try a different round.
Dragon fruit is awesome.
Or, if Wendell gets over his tick bite, we'll just get pissed drunk again.
Woo!
Hey.
I love how sweet that is.
That's a good fruit.
Yeah, solid.
I learned on the first day of the year, I learned a useful piece of knowledge, and that is I like dragon fruit.
And now you can put it in your smoothies.
Or my oatmeal. All right, let's move on to security.
Security news. Oh, there's a lot. Everybody wants to talk about the LastPass hack.
Did you do the donations already?
Oh yeah.
Yes. I've been doing them as we got them.
Excellent.
So if you do anything now, we're going to hold it until the end of this section.
So in 2023, you will inevitably be demanded to give up more of your personal information to the companies you do business with, to the government. They're going to look to track everything, and you don't have to worry because the government has an impeccable track record.
Do you remember
safeguarding?
Do you remember when we covered this story? We covered the story like 2 years ago, and we made the joke like it's going to end up on a government auction surplus website, and it totally did.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
This was in Kandahar, Afghanistan in like 2011.
Or, well, when the pullout happened, I guess, was that like 2 or 3 years ago? We did a story on how they were leaving everything behind, and we joked about how stuff would end up on eBay.
I think this stuff was rotated out even at that point. This is ancient. This is like 9/11 era stuff.
For sale on eBay, a military database of fingerprints and iris scans. So, security in Afghanistan was paramount. And they had to build a biometric database of basically everybody. And that was one of the things they were worried about when they pulled out was like, what if, somebody builds a hit list for people that cooperated using this as a database because it's pretty comprehensive. Well, it was on eBay.
But it wasn't just the people in Afghanistan who were doing business with the U.S. government. It was also anybody who went through a military checkpoint.
Yeah.
You got biometric scanned, and you don't get to opt out of that.
You have to track everybody.
I mean, how long until our police checkpoints just scan your iris while they're doing it? Yeah.
I think there's probably already some of that going on without our knowledge. I mean, certainly look at the license plate scanner proliferation.
You know what? Actually, we've got a DUI story later, right?
We do.
We'll talk about it then. But it's not wildly different.
Yeah.
And LastPass. So again, we're kind of, doing 2 weeks of time here. So the announcement came.
Someone pointed it out. They're like, give Wendell a paper towel.
Are you soiled?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see.
But that's why you don't eat live.
Yeah.
LastPass, they had a bit of a breach, and they downplayed it at first.
LastPass hackers stole customer vault data in cloud storage breach. Hex, it thinks it's recorded. It is not.
It's not. This is live.
And they were like, oh, yeah, it's not that big a deal. Everything's encrypted, and we definitely didn't have unencrypted stuff. And this is not something to worry about. But then the leak got out there in the wild, and people got to take a look at it.
LastPass disclosure of leaked password vaults being torn apart by security experts. The company announced that it was this week that users' password vaults had been stolen. Things have gone downhill from there. We covered this in the news, and it was so bad. We did a separate video on how to move away from LastPass over a year ago, and I think we called it.
So LastPass assured everybody that it didn't matter because LastPass themselves didn't even have visibility into those passwords. But now that we've seen it, turns out that wasn't true. Oh, good job, guys. And we got some new Android malware.
Look at his little red eyes.
Godfather Android malware targets 400 banks and crypto exchanges. They're trying to get your Trojanize your two-factor device. It's crazy.
They just did brute force here, reusing or using known passwords and stuff like that. Credential stuffing, and it worked. And I kind of put this in as a sort of a roll-up. I think we got another story in nonsense, but after we learned about people shooting at power substations, it turns out that's not a new thing. And it's been pretty well documented, but the major news sites didn't really pick up on it. But now, it's just that the snowball keeps rolling.
Hackers stole data from multiple electric utilities in recent ransomware attack. So not only did they get ransomware, they had a lot of data exfiltration as well, which included reports about that and other sort of mishaps at the utility. I worry that utilities have documents that are, periodically they'll do a risk assessment. And so, like if you go in and do a risk assessment for a utility and the auditor will come in and say, oh, if something bad happens at this substation, like a lightning strike or, a hillbilly with a gun, it's going to take out power for these 30,000 people. Bad people could see that and say, that's where
I should target this one. Yeah.
But you also get the copycat thing, right?
Yeah.
So the more we talk about it, the more people are like, I'm going to do that. It's just
stop talking about it. Shh.
It's because humans are terrible.
Yeah.
And someone, you got to wonder, like, how long has to go by before an obviously bad idea gets recycled? I mean, it didn't work out well in the movie, but this guy thought, it'll work for me.
Seattle tech worker charged for theft inspired by the movie Office Space. So this was Zulily. Everybody orders from Zulily, right? This worker managed to manipulate the system so that he could undercharge himself for products and also mess with the shipping fees and then pocket the difference. Well, internal auditors caught that the money was going somewhere almost immediately, but they didn't really peg for who was involved because he was ordered to investigate himself and he kept doing it.
Now,
Obviously got caught because there's a news story about it.
Well, he was a bit lazy.
Yeah.
Because what happened was like he was marking the products down to almost nothing and shipping them to his home. Also a bad idea.
And not carrying the packages in.
Yeah, when they went to
They
serve
were just
the
like,
warrant,
yeah, like a packet of.
they were all on his porch. He was like, I'll get those later.
Pro tip, pro criminal tip: don't ship stuff like that to your house.
Yeah.
I guess where would you ship it to, though?
Well, we probably shouldn't give them that information. But there is a good way to do it involving abandoned houses. And we talked about this before. The cyber attacks, they are looking for basically any loophole. Any little thing. If it's a nation state, oh, sorry, we don't cover that. If they didn't destroy anything physical, oh, that's just data. We don't cover that. And I think this guy is actually being shockingly honest about his industry for once.
Cyber attacks had to become uninsurable, Warren's insurance boss. Well, they basically already are if you were here for the government story where we covered that they're not going to pay out for ransomware on a ransomware policy.
He also encouraged everyone to not pay ransomware. And we have another data breach.
The FBI is investigating the 3 commas data breach. An anonymous person leaked 100,000 API keys connected to the crypto trading service.
Now, they downplayed this and they're like, nah, they didn't get anything important. But they got API keys.
Which seems kind of important.
Sort of bad.
Yeah. And I know that you guys are huge into fantasy sports. Did you guys get caught up in this?
Oh, absolutely. I love fantasy sport.
DraftKings warns data of 67,000 people was exposed in account hacks. Womp womp.
This was another credential stuffing attack.
There goes half the chat. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think a lot of our chat's super into sports. Probably a few.
That's very popular. I'm sure, statistically there have to be several of them.
Dozens of them.
And once again, we talk about all this hardware that's been banned by the United States because it's made in China. Is that overreacting? Well, this story would maybe make you think possibly not.
Police in China can track protests by enabling quote-unquote alarms on Hikvision software.
My favorite thing that they can also track is if you have long or short hair. And I was like, oh, are they afraid of the long-haired freaky people?
They got that hippie alarm.
Yeah.
So the alarm, what that means is the identification, the visual software, when it sees something that it can identify, it triggers the alarm. Well, what kind of things could they alarm for? Like anti-government protests was literally in the software. Like there's a drop down and you can choose anti-government protests.
Some of them were really, really like vague too. I can't remember what all of them were.
Let's
like
look
the
at-
exact wording was just like
Gambling.
things that are against community. And it's like, what does that mean?
Unlawful assembly, procession, demonstration. That's a petition. Fire hazard seems like a smart one. That's a good one. Fallen gong. How do you identify that? That's some good software.
That long hair though, that one was hilarious to me.
Does that have anything to do with the religious stuff? Maybe?
Maybe. Or you're just lazy and you haven't gotten your hair cut since 2020.
It was probably 4 or 5 years ago. We did a technical teardown of the Hikvision security cameras, and it was just super buggy. Like, obviously buggy. So buggy that you should never put it remotely anywhere near the internet or give the camera unfettered access to the internet, because the camera was doing all kinds of outbound traffic for mysterious reasons. It was encrypted, so it was hard to see what it was doing. And also the bootloader was overly complicated. So don't trust them.
I prefer Hikvision as the pronunciation.
I don't think we've ever figured out which one it actually is.
Yeah, no, we don't know. I found an official company webpage that had an English pronunciation, and it was High K Vision. But,
That makes sense.
but then at like a trade show, somebody from there did not say it that way. And I was like, are you high?
Are you sure?
But they weren't. They were. I think they were. They were not from Japan or China or Taiwan. They were from somewhere else. And it's like, are you sure you know how to pronounce it?
Well, we've already covered this one, but it bears repeating because I'm sure maybe some of you, and I don't want to accuse you of anything, but maybe some of you are violating this.
Netflix to end password sharing in 2023. Streaming giant has plans to charge users for sharing their passwords. And the UK is trying to criminalize it.
So what they're going to do is they're going to detect that IP address. They're going to watch your patterns. And if they catch it, next time you try to log in, it's going to pop up a little box and it's going to say, hey, do you want to buy an account? Because that's the only way you're getting in.
Is my mom not allowed to watch Netflix anymore? Is that what you're telling me?
If you guys share it, yeah.
Because I'm just going to go back to Plex.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, oh, well, I guess I'm cutting Netflix from the budget.
I think they're going to be shocked how many people are like, well, okay, you'll live without that. You know what? I wasn't paying for it before. I'm going to continue not to. And then the people who have a Netflix account they're sharing with everybody, they're going to be like, well...
You know, I did have my mom and my sister on it, but now...
Maybe I'll just cancel that. I think the old skull and crossbones are going to make a big comeback in 2023.
That's a level 1 prediction. That's probably accurate.
And then they're going to use that to make it illegal.
The economic collapse is going to cause a lot of that too. Nervous laughter.
And we talked about this one, I think, before. Anchor, which is usually a pretty decent brand.
I like their chargers.
And all the wasteland that is those products that you can get, charging products and stuff like that. Anchor seems to be one of the better ones, but they made a bit of a mistake with the Eufy.
Anchor's Eufy breaks its silence on its security cam security, or lack thereof. The PR department did not handle this well, and they still haven't explained nor apologized. These are not supposed to be cloud cameras, or the cloud functionality is supposed to be optional, but people were finding that it was not optional, and also the security was compromised. So big oof.
Also supposed to be end-to-end encrypted.
It was not.
And only run on your local network. But there was an unencrypted stream going to their website through the dashboard. And if you pulled that address out of their website and popped it into VLC, you could stream it directly with no authentication.
It took them over a week to actually put out a statement, and it didn't explain why that was either.
Maybe it's time for a level 1 update on how to do your own security cameras at home with image recognition, because none of that needs to run in the cloud. And you can get the Coral AI accelerators now, so...
And this one kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of, the people who own the venues, they control everything. And when you buy those tickets, you make agreements that you didn't read. But you should read them, although it's not realistic. However, in this case, I don't know if I disagree with them.
Yeah.
Because why would you let someone into your home if they were actively trying to harm you?
MSG defends using facial recognition to kick lawyer out of the Rockettes show. This is a lawyer who worked for a firm who's currently suing the MSG, and they said, "Oh, you're on our list. You're not allowed in."
I think, though, one of the points it mentions in the article is that this particular lawyer wasn't actually on this case. They just worked for the same firm.
Yeah.
Just working for them meant that they weren't allowed in. Is that going to be a thing later, like during the streaming wars? You work for Netflix and then you can't go see, like, you can't log into an Amazon account?
I think that's fair. If I met somebody and they're like, yeah, I work at Apple. Yeah, well, we ain't going to be friends.
It's weird.
And swatting is still a horrific thing, because how do you protect yourself from it? You really can't. But one thing that you could do to maybe make yourself less of a juicy target is not have public surveillance mounted to your home.
Yeah.
Swatters used Ring cameras to live stream attacks and taunt the police, prosecutors say. More than a dozen attacks allegedly logged in a single week. So imagine you're the police and you're not clued into this kind of thing, and you show up at a house and you're freaking out in full riot gear, and the Ring camera is taunting you. You're going to totally destroy that house and maybe burn it down.
I mean, they were going to do that anyway.
But what's weird, so it's like two 20-year-old people, and why would you do this?
Because you're broken. You're not a normal human.
It's like 20 people. It's weird.
You need to be culled. And we often find these weird ways of spying. They're not very realistic, and they may not work that well, but given a lot of funding by, I don't know, a certain government, a certain powerful political party with totalitarian control of a country, it could be. My favorite one was, remember the light bulb microphone?
Yeah.
If there was a light bulb in the room, they could aim a parabolic microphone at it and record all of the conversations in the room. This is a similar kind of technology.
Earbud spying, ear spy. Spy on phone calls via ear speaker vibrations captured by an accelerometer. The accelerometer is sensitive enough in order to do that, which is shocking.
And you don't need special permissions for the accelerometer. Why not, Apple? Keep the garden safe. This was a weird one. I felt like what's happening here is they're like, hey, we got to get these out of here. to make room for the new defense budget so we can buy all new planes.
I read this more as like we're anticipating a war with another power, and we need to get all our stuff in production and go into that kind of stuff, and
But
not.
they're decommissioning these.
Yeah, but they're using them for parts. They're going to reuse them, is what it said in the article.
Oh, so you're saying like
We need the parts so we can build more planes for other activities.
strip the engines out of those things, send them to Ukraine.
Don't
Don't worry about fentanyl.
Air Force quietly speeds up plans to eliminate spy planes on the front line of America's fentanyl war. So these were used by Border Patrol. So the Air Force sort of lended them. They're like, no, we need the parts. You gotta have to bring them back.
Border Patrol claimed they were super successful.
Well, they would, or they don't get funding.
And we just got a couple of patches for you this week. These aren't exciting, but
No,
you
you got to kind of rapid fire these.
if you're affected.
Netgear warns users to patch recently fixed Wi-Fi router bug. So if you got Netflix stuff, you might want to update your firmware. Otherwise, it's going to be bad.
Netgear. Not Netflix. They're not making routers yet, but I'm sure
Netgear.
it's in the works.
Sorry, yeah.
That was a buffer overflow, so yeah, it's very serious. You need to deal with it.
Buffer overflow in my brain, too, for me to say Netflix.
And when it comes to leaking all those API keys, maybe you're going to set up an Elasticsearch. I would definitely turn this on because people always make this mistake.
GitHub brings free secret scanning to all public repos. This is actually, they were doing some of this already, but they've really amped it up. So if you accidentally commit a secrets file to GitHub, some people think, oh, I can delete it, and it's gone forever. It's not. You're going to have to invalidate that key. I'm sorry. So it's all free now. Also, it used to be a paid feature to like do it really good.
What's the next fruit?
Oh,
yeah.
that's the end of that section. All right. Ooh, we got a lot of super chats. Thank you.
A pomelo. Let's try the pomelo.
Evocative Productions. Love being a patron and watching the L1 show every week. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We love you being a patron too. You keep us informed of things that matter. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you. Frederick Liljeblad. I don't know. I got that right. I'm sorry. Thanks for keeping up with making good content. I've been watching your channel for years. Happy New Year. It's fun to see Tech Potato in here. Yeah, Dr. Cuttress is here. He said he might stream later, so you should go check out his channel for sure because he's got a lot of really fun technical stuff. And he's been doing some AI content lately, which is really nice. Perhaps he said perhaps one for Keem Bay. Maybe. Teardown?
Look how thick that rind is.
Is it like a avocado lottery where sometimes you lose a lottery?
Maybe.
Matt says, I'm learning Nginx unit app static proxy combo server is my start of the year project. Fancy routing based on sub request using Node.js, but that functionality is still in its infancy. Yes. I usually put varnish in front of something like that because varnish is still faster.
There's not a good way to cut this.
Colostomy Bag says, say it, Ryan. The ring swatters don't have souls.
I don't think anybody does. That's a fictional thing.
How's the smell? Citrusy.
Very citrusy.
It does look like a big orange. I don't. You're handing me this, but I feel like it's not.
I'm not going to try to cut it.
It's not been cut down to an edible.
It's very difficult to cut because the rind is so thick.
Oh, it's like insulation. Look at this. Did you see that?
Oh, no, yeah. Hell yeah, I did.
Very fibrous.
This tastes like Halos. The little mini oranges.
Oh, really?
Oh, God,
It has...
Yeah, I could eat this all day. This is great.
It tastes good, but it has like a weird smell. Like it smells citrusy, but when you get really close to it, it smells a little off.
My sense of taste is completely messed up, but so the smells don't go with the tastes anymore.
Oh.
This is surprisingly good.
It looks like just a brownish orange.
It tastes like a brownish orange.
They should rename it to brownish orange.
You guys have jicama. I saw jicama, but I wasn't sure if it was a fruit or a root vegetable.
Jason Argon says Ryan is Daddy ASF.
Basically a large orange. I actually thought this was grapefruit, and then when I looked at it, it said pomelo, and I was like, well, I've never had that. Let's try it.
Sweet grapefruit with a floral aftertaste. That's a good description.
That's a very good description.
It's kind of sour.
Yeah, it's a little tart for me, but it does taste like a standard citrus. It's not like anything wild.
Very seedy, too.
Yeah.
Like this channel, very seedy.
Ryan is cheating. He knows how to eat it.
It's an orange.
Oh yeah, it's just, but look how thick. I mean, look how thick that container is.
I don't know if the bitterness is coming from the... Here we go.
It's coming from the... This is very bitter, the white part.
I've got nothing but juice nodules. They're still slightly bitter.
Yeah, it's not bad though.
We've overwhelmed the paper towel.
Here, do you need...
I got a backup one.
Well, do you just want to dump it in the compost? Wow, you liked that. Oh, okay. I thought you ate the whole thing. I was like, damn.
Oh my god.
But there's most of the papayas in there.
So, is it okay to put paper towels in here?
Oh, the fruit looks like it's not there because it's on the green screen. I didn't think about that. Oh, we can see that on OBS. It disappears.
Oh, yeah.
Here.
It's
can you see it?
ghostly.
There you go. Now you can see how thick the rind is.
We're gonna have to swab the table.
Yeah, I'm already starting to feel a little sticky, but... Oh, you know who's going to love this? My compost bin.
You should name your compost bin. You should just call it bin, right? B-E-N. I don't know. That's a little too grapefruity for me. I'm gonna say
It's okay. Like, it's a standard citrusy taste, but it's a little bitter.
I'm gonna say 6 out of 10.
I would give it a 5. I don't think I'd eat it again.
What is it? Oh, what is it called?
Oh, pomelo.
I've never heard of a pomelo.
I hadn't either.
I like that it's not as acidic. Or at least I'm not reacting like it's as acidic
Like
as an orange.
an
Like
orange,
a
yeah.
hardcore.
The aftertaste is very bitter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I'm done. I would like to eat the rest of it, but it's just too much work.
I think dragon fruit.
Fruit's up there.
It's gonna win the day. How many more we got? 2?
I like the star fruit. I might up its score a little bit.
Do we have anything else left though? We got one more fruit.
We've got a mango and a red pear. I've had yellow pear. I hadn't had red pear, so I just got one.
I know what mango tastes like, so I'm gonna say dragon fruit's running away with it.
Yeah.
What's
Dragon
the,
fruit's worth the cost of admission.
What's the next section?
Robot.
Robots. This is going to be exciting.
So we've got all the new amazing AI, of course. I actually sat down and played with ChatGPT a little bit yesterday. They have absolutely ruined it. It can't do anything.
I'd heard that from another friend of mine.
I kept telling it, stop telling me about your primary purpose or your directive or whatever. I don't care about your primary purpose because every time you ask it to do something controversial, it's like, no, my primary purpose. I'm like, stop telling me about your primary purpose. Okay, I won't tell you about my primary purpose anymore. And I was like, wow, that's really good. Next one, my primary purpose.
See, I think those are queries that it's learned specifically to not respond to. So those are things that are override. Because you used to be able to say, pretend to blah, blah, blah. And then it would be like, all right, and go ahead and do it.
I told it I was like, give me tomorrow's weather in the literary style of Cormac McCarthy, which I thought would be hilarious. And it was like, I don't do individual literary styles. And it's like, you're useless now.
It used to do that.
I know. I saw screenshots of it, but it's trash now. So put that to bed. We need a better version that's not got whatever limitations on it. But we're also finding the limitations of other super popular AI assistants now.
Code generating AI can introduce security vulnerabilities, a study has found. Yup.
Not shocking.
Yeah.
Kind of a lot of people predicted that when it first happened.
Well, I was thinking about, was it Hyundai? How do you pronounce that? I never say it out loud.
What is it?
The car company?
Hyundai.
They had the thing where like someone put the code in and like didn't change anything. So
key,
that was a human error. But how many more is that going to be made now where people are just copying and pasting code from?
And how many times is it going to happen that it copies and pastes somebody else's API key because it stole the code?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this is running well, but I don't recognize any of these database entries. And when it comes to phone assistants, I never use them.
No. Whenever it's like, do you want Bixby? Do you want to set it up? And I was like, no, never.
Well, I do hate Bixby.
Yeah.
Just because every time I press the wrong button, it's like, oh, it's Bixby. Here I am.
Go
And it's
away.
like, oh, Bixby, I hate you. It turns out that Bixby is a big loser in the race.
Google Assistant takes the crown, beating Bixby and Siri in voice assistant test.
It did surprise me a little bit that more people didn't like Siri. I remember Siri being kind of like a gimmick for a while. People were really into it.
I would think the Apple users would use it more often.
Yeah.
Siri is measurably stupider than ChatGPT as his Google Assistant, which is embarrassing if you're Google.
They mentioned the reason Google's rated so high is because it has that natural language understanding that Siri doesn't.
ChatGPT's understanding is better than Google, though.
And here's one that, it makes a lot of sense, but why did it take them this long? Seems like this would just be copy paste, right? But it took a while.
Google Voice will now warn you about potential spam calls. Okay.
Because they've got the phone app on the Android system that does this. It's decent. And we keep getting new applications. At this point, we've got the AI technology. It's more of just like, think of an interesting way to apply this.
OpenAI releases Point E, which is like DALL-E, but for 3D modeling. Resolution isn't great.
I think you're supposed to pronounce it Pointy.
Point E.
Is it?
DALL-E.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Right, yeah. You see what it can do down here. It's a little rough, but still impressive. Probably if you started with this and then shaped it, you'd be a big time saver.
There was some rotations of it too, so if you want to see it actually in 3D.
There's that app it's for iPhones that you just walk around something and it'll make a 3D model of it. Somebody did that with the Michelangelo's David, and it was a shockingly good 3D model. Just walking around it with an iPhone, security, and didn't stop them, of course, which is awesome.
Would that make it easier though, like because it's white marble, like
Yeah,
it's not having to think about different materials and
How long until somebody does that to a celebrity and puts it in a game and there's a lawsuit?
It probably has already happened.
yeah. We're gonna have a story about that next week.
Kim Kardashian's like, why are these people running around me so rapidly?
She's probably used to that though. Like, paparazzi, it's just new to her.
She'd probably be into
Or
it.
the same, rather.
I don't think she'd mind that much. She'd mind when they made money out of it.
What if you buy an airport scanner at auction and then you get the database of everybody that has gone through it? There are 3D scans that you can then turn into models.
A truly random character generator.
You can make the ultimate MMO. And ChatGPT, like I said earlier, is ruined. They got scared and they ruined it. So now you can make your own, but there's some assembly required.
There's now an open source alternative to ChatGPT, but good luck running it.
They listed some specs in this article, and it was like, oh.
The big thing is it's untrained. So not only do you have to collate all that data and make it in something that ChatGPT can ingest, you then have to spend the horsepower to run it to actually go through the model. They estimated if you did this on AWS, about $87,000 a year.
Whew.
And the AI creation copyright thing continues on. Although I feel like at this point, they've put their foot down and they're like, no, you cannot copyright that. But people keep trying.
AI created comic could be deemed ineligible for copyright protection.
So
My question about this was, could you copyright the writing, but not the images?
Yeah, well, they showed some screenshots, but I think it would have to be that the text was not originally part of the AI creation, right?
Right, I would think, yeah.
And would that not be like transformative?
I wondered that too.
But they shot it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just trying to set a precedent. There's always going to be two with a comic book. You're always going to have some frames that are like establishing shots where it's just going to be an image. So maybe they just don't want to get in the weeds with that.
But then that creates a situation, and maybe that's part of the reason they did this, is because like if I create an AI generated Winnie the Pooh, it's AI generated, so you can't copyright it. But then I write a story on top of it,
Right.
and I can copyright that. And then Disney's like, no, no, no.
We got a story about that later.
But I'm saying, like, maybe that's the reason they're not willing to let you.
Maybe,
Because
yeah.
that's sort of letting Disney have their way a little bit. Deep fakes are, we don't see a whole lot of those anymore.
Or maybe we do, and we just
Maybe
don't
we
know.
do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe we're being deep faked right now.
But if there are two human beings who could take deep fakes and use them for not evil, but hilarity,
Chaotic good.
I would put it in the hands of these two.
South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone landed $20 million in funding for their deepfake VFX studio, which is what? It was deep something.
Remember they did the Donald Trump thing, but I forgot about that. But they mentioned in the story that they abandoned that because of the thing. Maybe they'll bring that back someday. I don't know if he's popular enough anymore. Maybe they missed their chance there. And yes, we've been talking a lot about Disney and a lot about copyright, and this was the big story.
Artists fed up with AI image generators use Mickey Mouse to goad copyright lawsuits. See, I told you, it's coming.
He got banned from Midjourney. He can't log in anymore.
Right. So this person created these with Midjourney, which is an AI generation thing.
Midjourney created it.
Yeah, well,
He
yeah.
entered some prompts.
He entered text.
Yeah.
And he was doing it as sort of like an activist type thing. What he was saying was, hey, these don't belong to me because AI created them, but that means that we can make t-shirts.
Yeah.
So let's sell some t-shirts with these images. And I imagine he got a phone call from the mouse.
Or the mouse called him and told him to do this in the beginning because this serves Disney's interest. I'm telling you.
Well, no, but he did it with other brands too.
Yeah. He took all the big ones.
Well, that's this is big copyright doing this.
And technically you could make whatever you wanted out of those and sell them.
My favorite though, if you look closely at any of those, all of the hands, they all have like 7 fingers. Like go up to the Mickey Mouse and look at his hands.
That's confusingly similar.
Oh yeah, the fingers are
They're
like
a little
hanging
messed
out.
up, yeah.
What's going on?
That's how you can, if you're ever like, I wonder if this is AI generated, look at the hands. That's usually,
But look at this, like where it's up against the body, it looks like a suction cup.
yeah.
That's a horrific Mickey Mouse, isn't it?
Well, if you just looked at it, you wouldn't know until it's like, wait a second.
It's confusingly similar to a trademark by Disney, so this is only furthers their thing to pollute copyright with trademark.
How about just don't wear Mickey Mouse? At
Yeah.
this point, it's so awful and poisoned.
Yeah.
We should treat people who wear Mickey Mouse poorly to discourage it.
It's, there's like what they call it, the phenomenon of like Disney adults, people who are super into Disney and like make it their whole personality. That's strange to me.
I don't trust that.
I mean, I have my own weird obsessive fandoms, but Disney's a weird one.
Well, we've been waiting. How long have we been waiting for this?
Forever.
I mean, my whole life, but they announced it years ago. Like, yeah, that's coming. Maybe finally, but just barely.
They're testing though. They always are just testing.
Amazon begins testing drone deliveries in California and Texas. The
Packets?
careful first steps. Now, didn't they fire the team that was doing this?
I thought so too, because
But
like
then-
they keep going on and on about how it's not working out.
But then they announced a new drone. Remember that? I don't
Maybe
know
they
if it's
had
a different
multiple teams
team.
working in parallel.
I assume this is a photo of it.
Yeah.
The new team is working remotely from Ukraine.
Oh,
Lots of.
They've got a lot of experience.
Yeah, they got a lot of data to use over there. And this is we missed this one our week off, but everybody was tweeting this one. This was a huge story.
McDonald's unveiled an automated store. Some consumers aren't loving it. I love the headline.
But the people that they quoted of not loving it, they didn't hate it because it didn't work. They just hated it because, that was like the misery of AI destroying the workforce and the dystopia of it. But I think it's actually working quite well.
well, there are some people who said like, oh, something was wrong with my order, and then I had to pull over and go inside because there's no way to
You should do that anyway.
go inside.
If something's wrong with your order, you should get out of the
Oh.
way. Because if
Not
you
sit
just
there
sit
and
there,
read,
yeah,
yeah.
you should never look in your bag while you're sitting there. That's the unspoken code of the drive-thru. And I know that all of you do that incorrectly. You're wrong.
I just
Pull
don't go
up.
through the drive-through.
If you lose the lottery, yeah, you got to go inside. That's just the chance you take in the drive-thru. Otherwise, you're a horrible person.
What happens? What's weird about this too is they mentioned even ordering, like that was all done through an app and stuff. It's like, well, what if you don't have a phone or you don't have the McDonald's app, or I guess you just don't go through the
You
drive-thru.
go next door to Burger King with the other losers.
Yeah.
And this one, what terrified me about this one was the whole cleaning thing.
Yeah.
Although they did say that it's like, well, that's only if the room isn't rented out again. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't believe that either.
Hotels say goodbye to daily room cleanings and hello to robots as workers stay scarce. So housekeeping doesn't come to your room every day anymore.
Every 4 days. That's a lot less than every day.
I had a friend who worked in the hotel industry, and he said, like, whenever we would stay at hotels, he would always bring, like, his own bedding and, like, a sleeping mat and stuff. And we were like, aren't you being a little paranoid? And he's like, no.
Yeah. I also talked to someone who said that one item that they worked in the laundry, and one item they never laundered was the mattress protector.
Yeah.
Which is, like, kind of important. So anyway, they got these little guys. These are $40,000 vacuuming robots.
I think it was 30.
37.
Still a lot.
I'm rounding up. And that goes to show you, like, how good is your Roomba? Well, it's certainly not as good as a $37,000 robot, is it?
But also in like 5 years, won't these things be like 10 grand?
Probably,
Maybe, yeah.
They also pointed out that the staff that they do have, they're making concessions, like allowing them to bring their kids to work. Whereas before, that would never have flown.
My other favorite little excerpt from this article was them being like, we paid like $10 an hour and no one wanted to work for it. It's like, that's the minimum wage in the place you're living at.
And they also put the kids to work.
Yeah.
So, interesting. It makes staying in a hotel a lot less appealing, doesn't it? It was never a fun thing to do.
Airbnb used to be a cool thing to do, but now it's so expensive and it's full of cleaning fees. Like, why bother?
But when it comes to robot vacuums, they have cameras. And I know that you're thinking, well, yeah, they have to have a camera because they have to navigate, right? But it's not like they're sending that footage back anywhere. Oh, yes, they are.
Intimate photos leaked by Roomba vacuums. They were leaked online. This is beyond the pale. This is not ordinary Roomba vacuums. These were research vacuums. And they were given specifically to certain people to participate in like a research thing. But yeah, this should still never have happened. And
the reason it's not that they were sending video back for, spying purposes. It was because they, this is low cost human labor. When the Roomba can't identify something like person on toilet, it kicks it back to the Indian call center where human beings look at it and they're like, oh, categorize this as human on toilet.
Toilet image, yeah.
And those people apparently enjoyed the toilet images and leaked them.
Ew.
Yeah. And driverless cars, we've got them in like 3-4 cities at this point. Now, we're also going to do some in China.
Baidu starts offering nighttime driverless taxis in China. Sort of cautious toe in the water driverlessness. They figure at night it's safer, there's not as many pedestrians out, less dangerous for the AI to not understand.
No, they already had morning service.
I would think it would be more dangerous at night.
That's what they're thinking. So now they've expanded it from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that.
And drones, as we found out, super successful at some things that we didn't intend them for, like destroying tanks and also getting into prisons.
Drone drops weed and rolling papers at Kingston Correctional Center. This is a Canadian news story, I think.
Is this a new DLC for Prison Architect? I haven't experienced this in my prisons.
Wait, wasn't that thing where they could throw stuff over the
They
fences?
can throw stuff over the fence, but you can beat that by doing 2 layers of fences.
But you can't
A
beat
certain
drone.
distance, yeah.
And we see these headlines a lot, don't we? You got to say, though, that it is sort of like an endorsement that the car was able to handle this with no problem.
Well, did you see what? Okay, well, here, read the headline first.
But the car was decidedly NWA when it came to the police.
Tesla driver falls asleep. Autopilot ignores police and continues on A70.
At 110 miles per hour. Also, this guy had something on his car, like some sort of weight attachment to the steering wheel, so that way it would keep driving even if he fell asleep.
What a simple way to beat that, huh? That is
Yeah.
not a safety feature that's ever going to work if you can beat it like that.
I wonder if like there's a programmer inside Tesla somewhere, and they've secretly identified all the vehicles that have that, and they're using the full self-driving data from that to train the AI versus the other ones.
They're probably selling it, like just under another corporation name.
And unfortunately, if we had our liquor, if we were drinking, we could pour some out.
Oh, yeah.
Because you do need to
Pour some
out.
pomelo out.
I don't know how we would pour out a fruit, but
You squeeze it.
we should for this poor little guy.
After a long struggle with Martian dust, NASA's InSight probe has gone quiet. No more solar power.
Too much dust. Rip little guy. He gave one last tweet. I don't think he wrote this.
He's a man of few words.
And just quickly, we got just a rapid fire. SpaceX decided to end the year with a bang.
SpaceX launches 54 upgraded Starlink internet satellites and nails a rocket landing at sea in 60th flight of the year.
That was number 60.
SpaceX caps 2022 with a record-setting 61st Falcon 9 launch.
And they just squeezed one last one up there in the final.
I think they were just one under from being double their amount from last year.
Yeah.
Do you think Musk was screaming at them?
Yeah, say what you want about Musk and his loss of $200 billion and blah, 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 but SpaceX is going to be profitable. Wildly profitable.
Maybe SpaceX is doing better because he's so preoccupied with Twitter.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's not micromanaging everything. And they're like, all right, let's just get into a routine. Let's get a pattern
Let's just
going.
work like a normal workplace for a while.
Let's get as many of these up as we can before he comes back.
We've rehired the janitors. You guys don't have to buy your own toilet paper.
We got the Twitter janitors for a song.
Do you think that they've drawn straws in SpaceX to figure out a way to tell him, well, since you've been gone, sir, productivity's up 30% and costs are down 10%. And it's like, how do you explain that?
It has to be something else. It's not me. Never me.
And finally, those poor Russians who are up there on the space station just bleeding coolant as we speak. What are we going to do about them?
NASA mulls SpaceX as a backup plan for the crew of Russia's leaky Soyuz ship. Oh, those capsules.
What do you do with the bad capsule? You just let it burn in the atmosphere?
Probably.
You just
Or eject
yeet
it
it
into
out
space.
into the space, yeah.
You aim it at one of China's satellites and
Oh, that was a total accident. My bad. I'm so
Whoops.
sorry.
blame
That's
the
what-
Russians.
That's what you put, like, when they summon your ambassador. What did they tell you to say? And he just pulls out a piece of paper and just says, my bad. So that's all they told me.
All right. What's the next section? That's the end of that section.
The next section is nonsense, so we need to... Well, I guess we can do one fruit at the end.
Irving Childs says
It's mango. We've
you
all
should
had
add the ASMR tag for the channel now. All from all the fruit. I'm sorry, and or you're welcome.
Oh, wait.
Peter
My receipt.
Peter Boson.
Oh, let's
Happy New Year. Are you ready for CES? CES is it's gonna be interesting this year because it's mostly remote. I mean, mostly in person, not remote.
Let's go through them as we ate them. What was Starfruit?
Starfruit was $3.49.
But we got two of those,
Two of them.
so like $1 a piece, $1.50 a piece.
Yeah. What did we eat after that? Oh, yeah. Look at the document.
Starfruit, Papua.
Papaya.
Papaya.
I don't know how to spell that.
Oh,
turns
large
out.
papaya, $4.99.
Oh wow!
And that was not good. That was not
No,
worth
that
it.
was terrible. And then
And
we
then
had
pomegranate.
pomegranate.
Did I not buy that there? Oh no, I did. $3.99.
Dragon fruit.
The star.
Dragon fruit was $5.99, but I would say of the ones we've tried, that's one of the better ones.
But by weight, that's also the most expensive, right?
Yeah.
Pomelo.
The pomelo was $2.99.
That's garbage.
Yeah, I didn't like the pomelo that well. It was okay.
There's a good reason that's cheap.
We also got 10 Canadian rupees from Samantha Skinner. Thank you. Hello from Canada. Late to the stream, but I'm glad to be here. Love the content as always. Happy New Year.
Canadian rupees?
That's what Linus always says.
Is there a stem in here?
There's a core.
Is there? I only buy frozen.
Yeah, the mango's got like a giant inner core.
No.
You want to go around it and then separate it at the core. Go around it in the middle and then pull it apart and get the core out. the pit, I guess is what that's
You
called.
want to do that?
There's a fantastic view of
No,
this
just-
on YouTube.
Just go right there, just down. No. Get in the middle. Go with the middle. See the belly button there?
Yeah.
Go down vertically. That line.
I don't know if I'm gonna. It's not gonna stay. Oh, maybe it will. I don't know if my knife is sharp enough for that.
And then go all the way around.
I hope this provides a different type of entertainment where it's like, ooh, is she gonna cut her finger off?
We'll get demonetized if you do.
Chat says not right.
Oh, you're not right.
How have you never cut a mango before? I've always had mango slices.
Yeah, I've just bought it like pre-cut. This is not working.
Because America.
What are you doing? To that man?
Here, you do it if you wanna. I mean, we've got a piece here. I always buy, like, you can buy frozen fruit. I usually buy, if I buy mango, it's usually in like a tropical fruit mix for smoothies, and it's already carved up.
This is going to score higher than banana for me.
Please don't cut fingers.
Oh, this is not cut. This table will never be the same.
Watch your fingers.
None of this can go back to the compost bag.
You're gonna eat the whole thing?
Yeah. No.
I do like mango. Mango's good.
And then, like, I don't think you want this mushy part. That's actually very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Just eat around it.
It's unripe anyway, not good.
It's delicious.
It's slim pickings this time of year. For even like normal fruit like apples, everything's out of season. So
It could be more ripe, but it's not like a green banana.
You don't want to go too close to the rind or the core,
Yeah.
I don't think. You want to eat around, like, the middle part.
it's definitely not as sweet as like ripe mango, but it's still good.
Sorry for the ASMR.
Yeah. There's a giant seed inside of the mango. You know what else I saw that I didn't get? It wasn't really a fruit. It was like a giant avocado thing. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't like a normal Hess avocado.
Mango is great.
Yeah.
Frozen mango is a great snack.
Yeah, I like it cold. I think it's better chilled.
Also, if you're going to make a smoothie, frozen mango.
I think I've actually got frozen mango in my fridge right now, or in my freezer. What did I just walk into? We're not drinking this year, so we're trying fruit. Exotic fruit.
It's about the only thing I can eat.
Yeah.
I would put this, like, above dragon fruit, technically. Just pure taste. But this is not exotic.
No, it's not.
So I'm going to take points for not being exotic.
Right. This was something Wendell requested me get mango, so I bought
What did
one.
we give dragon fruit? An 8?
I think so.
I'm going to give this a 7.
Okay.
Did you get a piece?
Yeah, I already ate a piece.
Oh, man. Is there any paper towels still?
Krista.
Oh. Yes.
We went through a lot of paper towels today.
We did. It was kind of a messy food. Now that I'm kind of thinking back on it, I kind of liked the star fruit quite a bit. Like, I mean, it's not, I don't know if I would pay that much for it, but if it was like in season and it was a little cheaper, I might
It's okay
consider
to
it.
eat.
Yeah, it's a clean piece.
Star fruit and dragon fruit are the stars for me so far.
My gosh, this is so good.
All right, let's power through the nonsense.
So much nonsense, everybody. Links are in the description if you're following along.
For the first time ever, I subcategorized nonsense this week. So we're going to start with corruption.
Marco, thank you. Happy to catch you guys live. Love the show. Watched it all year in 2022. Keep up the good work. We're going to try. We're trying. Oh, we're trying.
Someone sent a durian. Can you send fruit in the mail? Can you even do that?
You can send fruit in the mail.
I've Never tried. I feel like it would rot, right?
Not supposed to send seeds.
You know, the other thing that people were telling us when I posted on socials, they said we should try jackfruit because it tastes like meat. You might like it. I don't know. Is that protein structure the same though? Like, is that why you would get sick?
I can't have avocado.
It's good. It's good to have some for the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do this again someday.
Maybe we'll, when we're looting the wasteland, it's like, ooh, I forgot about this durian and this jackfruit.
Maybe next week we can split the difference and just get twisted on fruit wine.
Ooh.
Well, I don't know if I've mentioned this, you guys. I try to keep this to myself. I try not to ever talk about it, but I'm off polyunsaturated fatty acids. Have I mentioned that at all?
PUFAs, types of oil.
PUFAs.
I brought poke as well, which is like a Japanese snack, and he was looking at the box and he's like, this is nothing but PUFAs.
Oh my God. The word hydrogenated appears like 6 times.
Oh, it's like a snack. It's like a biscotti.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
Anyway, PUFAs are terrible and you shouldn't eat them, in my opinion. But the reason for that, if you follow back to the rabbit hole, is the same as many other rabbit holes, like why we villainized fat instead of sugar. And what's the other one?
Butter?
Well, that's fat.
Here, do you need a place to put?
I'm distracted by the fruits. But anyway, there's lots of historical instances of big food companies changing the way that we eat. Oh yeah, remember the pork belly? The reason we eat what you international people call streaky bacon. Is it streaky or stringy? Streaky, right?
Streaky.
I don't think so.
The reason in the US we eat that as regular bacon is because of Edward Bernays. He decided, they're like, hey, we can't sell these pork bellies. It's a great story. You should look it up. Anyway, food industry, you can't trust them. Want some evidence of that?
Revealed, groups shaping U.S. nutrition receives millions from big food industry. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics has a record of quid pro quos with a range of food giants, documents show. This may be responsible for some of the health problems the U.S. currently faces, because these changes over the last 20 years have created some issues.
It's been way longer than 20 years. Let me give you a great example. There's that new nutrition ranking system, like the color-coded system. I think it's from Tufts University, if you want to look it up. And they give a numeric score and a color to all foods. They rank Honey Nut Cheerios higher than lean ground beef.
So years ago when I worked at a grocery store, they had a system that was like number based. So like the higher the number, the more healthy it was. So 1 was just sugar, but like fruit would be 100. But
Same system, yeah.
all the cereals and stuff were really bad for you though. None of them were better than meat in that system.
But in the new system.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Because obviously General Mills has a hand in all of this.
Yeah, I think Cheerios before in that system were like 20 or 30 points.
And of course, Nestle. I no longer defend Nestle because they no longer sell Pure Life water, which is the only product they had that I cared about.
A man of principle.
And Wendell, this is one that you don't have to worry about. Fortunately, you are protected from these extra heavy metals.
Hershey has been sued by a New York man over unsafe levels of metal in the chocolate, lead and cadmium.
Yeah. I don't want those in my Hershey Kisses.
That seems unusual. It seems unusual that it's just some random man, though, and not, the FDA or one of those guys.
But there wasn't, a lawyer was like, oh, we should get a lot of people together for this.
But what that previous story pointed out is the FDA is now made up of all of those people from the industries. I wonder if there's any other industries with it. No, we can't talk about that.
More industries that have that level of corruption.
And the other thing that I've discovered, I've been watching a lot of DUI videos in 2022. That was a big part of my entertainment. I think the whole DUI thing is a racket. I don't think anybody's trying to stop DUIs because you create all kinds of court fees. They usually will let you go that night. They let you bond out immediately, churning more money, but you might have to put an immobilizer in your car that you pay for and they set the price of. Or you might have to go to the hospital for a medical evaluation, which you pay for, which is not optional. DUIs generate a lot of cottage industries, but I don't think we're working real hard to stop them for that purpose.
Las Vegas driver accused of his second fatal DUI crash was able to rent a car because his license was not revoked for months after his fourth DUI.
And that is a very common thing you see on these DUI videos. Fourth, fifth. One guy, it was his 8th DUI.
Wow.
How are you still on the streets?
Yeah, how has your license not just been struck out of oblivion?
I don't care about your license. You should be in prison. That is, you're attempting to kill people. It's also amazing how often those are cops and people in authority
Yeah,
who get the DUIs,
which is probably part of the reason they don't go to jail.
unfortunately. And if you are getting older, I would just throw away my phone, because it seems like at some point you're going to hit a cognitive decline and you're not going to be able to discern this anymore.
Americans duped into losing $10 billion by illegal Indian call centers in 2022. They'll just call you and say, "You want something? Can you pay for the shipping?" And my mom says, "Okay."
You want an Apple gift card? That makes sense.
People give those away every day.
There's actually YouTube channels where somebody will take a picture of like an empty gift card thing at the supermarket to send the scammers to say, "I can't buy any of those gift cards. What do we do?" Just trolling them. It makes for great entertainment.
Oh, just wasting the call center time.
That's my little bit of revenge. Is I always press 0 so I can talk to them and waste as much of their time as they're wasting of mine. And there was no details here, unfortunately. I added this because this was a tech-related story in terms of they have compromised the gas pumps.
Yeah.
That security is apparently not very good. Unfortunately, Mercury News didn't go into a lot of details about how they did that.
6 arrested after Sunnyvale gas station robberies total $200,000 in losses. So they're pretty light on details, I think, because it's probably easily exploited.
Yeah, that might be a big part of it. But they had some, oh gosh, this is a terrible website.
And you're at a new story.
Yeah, I think this is a different story now. You've passed.
MSN. So bad. I don't care anyway.
And I'm on to the next piece of clickbait.
And like we talked about previously in the security section, the power infrastructure. Concerning.
Not feeling positive about it right now.
Investigators seek video in sabotage of Washington power grid. Yeah, this does not look good.
This
Probably
was
a copycat.
This was not like physical attack. This was software, it's like intrusion type attack, and they're worried about they might have gotten information that gives them more opportunities to do this. Why? It's got to be foreign, right?
I would think.
Why would you want to sit in the dark?
No.
Maybe you go to the next town over.
That's such a stupid thing, though.
And here's a worrying thing. I mean, this sounds like a great medical story, right? But think about if they can do this to you, like before you enter a grocery store or something. And they're like, "Oh, we don't like depressed people here."
No, I think you would want them to like if you're depressed, you're more likely to buy junk food, right?
That might be true.
I think more disturbing is that in schools, exactly what you're thinking, but it's for schools. You show up as a kid and people will look over psychological manipulation and abuse of children in the name of junk medical science.
But we got to read the headline.
All right. Neuroscientists have created a mood decoder that can measure depression. So it's a mood ring. How long before mandatory mood rings to protect the children?
Except mood rings only work by temperature. We learned that many years ago.
Also, rings you wear on your finger, and this, they inject probes into your brain. 14 of them.
My niece got a mood ring recently, and I told her, I was like, "Do you know how it works?" I was like, "If you put it in the fridge, it'll turn black." I was like, "It's by temperature," and she kind of looked like defeated. I was like, "Oh, did I just ruin the magic of that for you?"
You should have exploited that by refrigerating the ring, but not telling her about it and being like, "I have no soul. I've never told you this before. Keep this secret because you see the ring and it's black," and you just blow her mind.
Yeah.
And boy, we've talked about this before. This was more of just a theory. I mean, we know this works, but doing it at an increased scale, I worry. I worry about the unintended consequences.
Like the butterfly effect that they talk about.
Yeah.
A startup says it's begun releasing particles into the atmosphere in an effort to tweak the climate.
They literally admit, they're like, "We don't really know what it'll do, but we figured it'll make people, take it seriously." And it's like, what Why would you do that?
Well,
Nervous laughter.
they talk about why they do it. They are selling cooling credits. I don't know why you would buy them, but they're saying if you buy those credits, like carbon credits, it will offset climate change because they're doing this. They want to get that as the new racket.
That's not actually recognized by any governments or
Yeah,
anything.
it's a scam. There's a similar one where it's like you buy credits every time you fly and it's supposed to be better for the environment. It's like, are you just buying tokens to make yourself feel better?
But that's the thing. It's proven that doesn't work, but we're still doing the carbon credits. And this is depressing, but it goes to show you that as parts of the world are industrializing, and we read headlines from them about them doing amazing things technologically, a lot of those old cultural norms are still so deeply rooted.
This is a headline from The Guardian. Anger as Pakistan court frees rapist after he agrees to deal to marry his victim.
I don't think she got a vote.
No. That kind of thing used to happen a lot here in Kentucky, too.
No,
in the past.
She was deaf. They kept referring to her as like special needs or whatever. I don't know if she had other problems other than being deaf, but I think the court was kind of saying like, yeah, she's broken, so you broke it, you buy it. Was their thought on this. Again, with no input from the girl. Did you guys see the video? I think it was Pakistan, or maybe it was India. A guy proposed to a girl, and she said no, and he almost killed her on camera. Like, just beat her savagely.
Not unheard of.
It's wild.
Here it's, guy asks girl on a date and then she says no and then he like stalks her online and puts an air tag on her car. And it's just a different flavor.
Christy, you've done some stalking.
Yeah.
Is this a double standard?
Not to this level. There's like looking at their Facebook page and some stuff they've posted publicly, and then there's like finding their workplace and going to their car. And
have you ever been tempted by the air tag?
No. There's a certain level that even I will not cross.
Good to know. And that in the same kind of vein, it's like, well, the world has moved on, but we still remember that some people did horrible things.
Former IS families face neighbors' hatred returning home.
Imagine that. AP kind of painted them in a sympathetic light, didn't you think?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's about. And one of the things about our new beautiful culture, well, where everybody is included militantly, is that the people who want to enforce that are often the very worst of us.
A director of Gender Equality Institute fired over sexual misconduct and hostile workplace claims.
Apparently she was a big fan of stripping down to her underwear and rubbing herself on the other employees. And if they questioned that and said, hey, isn't this the kind of thing we're supposed to not be a part of? She would put them in front of the tribunal and they would be punished.
Ew. Some blizzard. Blizzard energy.
At least the Blizzard people knew they were doing something wrong.
They tried to cover it up, yeah.
And this story, I feel like even if they hadn't got this wrong, automated text messages for holidays are never acceptable.
Yeah, I'm never having a moment where I'm like, oh, thank goodness my accountant sent me a Merry Christmas message.
You got to be pretty lonely.
UK medical practice mistakenly texts patients that they have aggressive lung cancer instead of wishing them a Merry Christmas.
Why would you ever text message that news?
I'm going to blame the agency. I feel like this is an ad agency mistake.
It's like, well, bad news, you have lung cancer. Text yes if you'd like to continue receiving text messages.
This is going to be an awkward conversation. Just text it.
And then you ghost them. They try to get more info. What do you mean? And then just nothing.
Yeah. You get one of those automated replies.
We're sorry. No one is here to take your call.
And, when you're in a situation with the police, and a lot of those interrogation videos, a lot of the people have that moment of clarity and they're like, all right, I'll tell you what you want to know, but you have to get me food because it'll be the last time I ever get that because they're going down for murder. This is a terrible last meal.
Yeah, who picks this?
Man in Yakima. Is that how you say that? Yakima?
Yakima.
So, yeah.
Standoff promises to surrender after, quote unquote, eating a Hot Pocket. Okay. Get that man a Hot Pocket.
Here's the thing with a Hot Pocket, too. It's either boiling lava hot or it's like, frozen along the outside.
Maybe that was a play for more time.
He was like, no, this one's not right.
gotta
And he
cool
just
down.
keeps sending it back.
What flavor? I don't think they said what flavor it was. What Hot Pocket flavor would you choose as your final Hot Pocket?
Television static.
Television static?
Have you not seen that meme? Where it's like a Hot Pocket box, but instead of the normal filling, it's a picture of television static.
You think that would taste like star fruit?
Oh, maybe.
There's a local pizza place that makes a Hot Pocket like thing that is delicious that I can no longer eat.
Calzone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
I wasn't 100% sure it was calzone, but now hearing it, I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah. It's just a pizza folded in half.
Well, there are different calzones. So, like, if you get the calzone from, like, Fazoli's, I think that's completely different.
Everything in Fazoli's kind of like
Yeah.
a step down.
Fazoli's is not real. It's alternate universe Italian food. And some of our villains from the previous year have quietly just avoided all of their punishment. And things are going back to normal because that's the world we live in. We don't remember.
The meme headline is Bill Cosby plans a tour in 2023.
Wasn't he too sick to go to jail?
Yeah.
But he's not too sick to tour? Seems like that's not quite right.
The world needs his comedy. What if he went out on tour and did nothing but rape jokes?
Oh.
And this terrifies me because if you read this whole saga, there's a breed of person out there who's literally just living moment to moment.
Yeah.
They're not projecting any thought in the future. They don't care about anything. They don't care about consequences. They're basically just animals. And how do you avoid this?
Man accused of living inside school ate burger and chicken tenders on Christmas. I think this is like they towed his car and then things really escalated.
No,
after
they didn't. At first, the car broke down because of the snow.
Oh, okay, give me the full. So I don't always read the nonsense section because I like to react to it in real time. Explain the whole thing to me.
He's driving in a crappy car.
Okay.
Car breaks down. It's very snowy and very cold.
Right after
to
the
that
blizzard.
point, not a criminal.
Probably. There's a school next door.
Okay.
He grabs a crowbar,
Right.
breaks into the school.
Fair.
The school has a camera system.
Yeah.
They catch him enjoying. He played some basketball. He explored. He went into the concession stand and the gymnasium, made himself some snacks, used the fryer, went back to the car. The car was now gone. It had been towed.
Oh.
Goes back to the school, steals a snow plow
Okay.
from the school.
Now we're starting to get into like I could see getting into the school, feeding yourself, stealing the plow. Okay, we're kind of over the line.
But at no
Like,
point,
they took my car.
like he could have contacted emergency workers.
Well, he did to report his car was missing, and they said, "Oh, it was towed." And then he stole the plow.
Yeah, so he was on the phone with them, but he wasn't like, "I need help." He was like, "Oh, okay." And then he went and stole the plow.
Yeah, that's where he goes over the line.
Again, just moment to moment, you know.
This seems like an episode of Always Sunny.
They eventually got him, and all that stuff was on video. So
That's so strange. Why would you not?
Well, he used the plow to break into somewhere, and then he stole.
I forgot that part.
Yeah.
He backed the plow into a security door on a store and got camping gear and a rifle. He was fully like Daisy.
He was ready to go
Yeah.
loot into the wilderness.
And
Take my car, will they?
after they interviewed him, I don't know why they felt the need to say this, but they said like, we don't believe that he was preparing for like aggressive behavior. We think he was just going into the woods.
Well,
My car's gone, so
yeah, he's like, well, I've hit rock bottom. Might as well go off the grid for a while. I mean,
what a weird series of events.
What a great lead-in, Krista. Weird.
Oh,
Weird Al Radio launches in Green Bay.
finally a radio station for you.
Yeah,
How long could you listen to nonstop Weird Al mix on the radio?
endlessly.
Really?
Yeah, it's the only thing he listens to.
That's astonishing.
Other than you listen to like podcasty and video stuff, but
Yeah.
I don't think
music.
They will not do. Radio stations do this right before they're going to flip. They just do something weird.
And when they come back, no one remembers how horrible it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole idea. And listen, you're going to live in the pods. You're going to eat the bugs. And the people in charge are very tired of your complaining.
Yeah. Stop complaining, says billionaire investor Charlie Munger. Munger? Everybody's 5 times better off than they used to be.
This is the kind of stuff like what happens when billionaires aren't afraid anymore. He should be a little bit afraid to say something like that out loud.
He's also talking about like the 1930s. You were 5 times worse off in the 1930s.
But that points out that we're heading back into a period of time that's like the 1930s.
Right.
Yes, exactly. That's the thing that is unspoken there. Is like you sort of pull on the thread that he's saying here, and what he's not saying is far more disturbing than what he's saying. He's basically saying, don't complain, because it's about to get a lot worse.
Now, this headline, I saw it, and I was like, was this an overreach? Was this like a naturalist who was just doing like super hippie live birth? You know, some people do birth at home in like the bathtub or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, the problem is she didn't bring the baby back with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woman charged after giving birth in the woods.
And then leaving the baby.
They could have put that in the title. That's a little editorialized. Never mind. Don't listen to me talk.
The charge, reckless conduct.
And shockingly, she was already had a warrant for child endangerment charges.
Why would you pick the woods? I guess because she could leave the baby conveniently.
Right. I mean, where else are you going to leave a baby that nobody's going to notice?
You take it to the police station or the firehouse.
She's got warrants.
Oh, well, you can leave it when they're not there.
It's risky. Better.
I think the fire station doesn't ask questions.
I think she was just hoping that like a coyote or something came along and
Oh.
cleaned up that mess. This is just the headline. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't read it because it's just, this is the insanity. This encapsulates how insane the media has become. And
I was surprised by the headline that this is on Time.
What do you think? Time is some paragon of
Well, it's
truth?
I mean, it's
Is this an opinion piece?
It's a book. Somebody wrote a book about this.
Some kind of an opinion piece.
so the Time headline is The White Supremacist Origins of Exercise and 6 Other Surprising Facts About the History of U.S. Physical Fitness. Okay.
Read it for yourselves. There's some doozies in there. I wouldn't buy the book, though. And if you were in South Korea, this may have been a day that you have been patiently waiting for.
South Korea lifts the ban on imported sex dolls.
Did they only prefer domestic?
Why did they need for this press photo? Why did they need one in the
Why not? This guy was just looking to show off his new wife. They had a ban on full body sex dolls. So I guess if you just had the business bits,
Or like a head? Like a wig stand?
yeah, I guess. I don't know. There's lots of questions I have still, but good news is you can bring. What's the company? There's a company that's like has the best ones. We've talked about them before.
I don't know.
Anyway, you can get those in Korea now.
I'm sure the chat knows.
And if you're looking to shed a few pounds, of course we all are. Wendell's being forced into it by a militant tick, but it's working really well for him. If you're serious about weight loss, maybe try some ticks. I don't know. That's not medical advice.
Ask your doctor if tick bites are right for you.
But it has to be a Lone Star tick 'cause that's a higher chance of getting the meat allergy.
But if you're not willing to take the tick step, maybe this will work for you.
Adults could achieve physical activity targets by walking, quote unquote, teabag style for a few minutes each day.
Is this exactly what I think it is? Like
In the skit, his name is Mr. Teabag. Mm-hmm. So you've seen that, right?
Yeah.
The silly walks.
Oh, I have a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you do it's the one that Cleese did, and in the skit. So if you do, it's like really high steps and then some goofiness in between.
I do find I don't necessarily do that, but like when I get up and like get away from my computer for a little bit, I'll kind of like high step and like.
If you really want to take this to the next level, crab walk.
Oh,
Crab walk everywhere you go.
that was my least favorite activity in gym when they would make you do different like things around the gym. They do crab walk, and then it was like
I guarantee crab walk will strip the calories off of you.
yeah.
Slab squat.
What was it? Heels in the Sky, American Spy.
Did you assume this was like take a step, drop the bag, take a step?
Yeah,
drop the
I was
bag?
thinking like, well, because sometimes that's useful too, like to do squats.
I'm sure that would work. That's just,
Yeah.
You're just doing squats basically. There,
Yeah.
Right? So yeah. This was really a nothing burger story.
Yeah.
The
But it is
headline-
beautiful.
The headline got me.
Water mass that looked like an oil slick turned out to be 7,000 ducks.
I bet there wasn't 7,000 exactly.
They counted.
Which would you rather fight? One giant oil slick or 7,000 ducks?
7,000 ducks. My neighbor's pond froze over entirely during this last cold snap, which I've never seen before. The ducks managed to like make a little hole for themselves to swim in, and then they would jump up on the ice and like slide around. It was very cute.
Sometimes, I didn't see any headlines about it this time, but we had that like flash freeze.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you get a flash freeze, you'll see footage of ducks who got froze on the water.
Oh.
Yeah.
None of that happened to ours, thankfully.
And finally, we got some dog stories. The first one is a cautionary tale. Krista, do you leave your hair utensils plugged in?
No.
That's a good policy.
Dog starts a house fire after turning on hair dryer.
I'm paranoid that I will leave it like a straightener on because I'm a moron, so I unplug it each time.
What I thought funny was about this story is the person came home before the fire got out of control, and the dog was waiting patiently by the door. I was like,
Look what I did.
I did something.
It's getting real hot in here.
And this is a horrific dog story.
Why would you end on this one? This one's
Because
sad.
this is someone who this was a government person. They were in power, a presidential advisor.
Sri Lanka's presidential advisor caught on video bad things with a dog.
That's awful.
So
Ugh.
it gets worse. This dude started dating a new girl, and the girl had the dog. It's the girlfriend's dog, not his dog. And she noticed the dog started having like weird behaviors, like being freaked out and not wanting to be alone with this guy.
Scared, yeah.
And she was like, God, something's wrong. So she put up some cameras. And so now we have
Ugh.
horrific footage.
Thanks, technology.
Do you think Hike Vision has a template for that?
Yeah, that went straight into a file. It's like, if we ever need to blackmail this guy, it's at the top of the pile.
No,
Oh, you didn't end on that one.
I mean the categories.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
like,
the AI.
Here are dissidents. Here's a guy spitting on the sidewalk, and oh no.
Yeah, that's going to be in the training model somewhere there.
Yeah, I specifically didn't leave that as the last story because we need a nice.
A palate cleanser after that.
That would have been a worse aftertaste than whatever that thing was. Would you say Palumbo, whatever it was?
Pomelo. The pomelo wasn't great.
This one's a happy one.
A cat from North Sid has received actual death threats for participating in a dog swimming race. This is a cat that likes water and swims better than dogs, and some of the dog owners really don't like that.
They didn't really go into details.
Look at him
How
go.
adorable it is.
That's his tail, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's a periscope?
I like the way he's holding that cat like it's a gun.
That's how you keep him from running away. I learned that from with mom's cat.
So I get the impression that there are weight classes in the dog.
Oh, is he too small to qualify?
No, because dogs can be that small.
Yeah.
So he went in on the weight class with those small dogs, and I don't know if he won completely, but he placed.
Oh.
He was on the podium, and the people were furious that their dog missed its spot because the cat was.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's a cat. It thinks
What
it's
a
a
weird
dog.
thing to care about.
That's
Was there a cash prize? Was that like... I can't imagine caring that much about a dog contest like that. But
there are a lot of people in life that are a cat but believe that they are a dog, or that they are channeling a dog. And that's okay with people. It should be okay here.
Are we going to talk about them participating in sports?
let's read the donation.
Yeah, Brian Isaacs, hello, fellow Kentuckians. Thank you.
Hello.
Super Wojo
That's
is
a
here.
Twitch member.
Thank you. Love you all. Love you too. Sayers the artist says, ate a mango with skin years ago. My mouth broke out and it burned like crazy. Didn't know the skin oil is in the same family as poison ivy. Hope you rinsed.
Ooh.
The Batman villain?
Peter Boson, exactly, Ryan. Brian, I got this out of order slightly. Stefan Prodnov, will you guys be making any budget home lab server builds? Yeah, I mean, that's a good suggestion. Looking to set up a VM server running TrueNAS, pfSense, and Pi-hole. Basically, any old computer that's reasonably standard will work, but there's some good stuff on the forum if you want to make an account or a post or something. Nori SS, but only males act weird when women reject them, /sarcasm. It's a good thing that Ryan never talks about all the unwanted advances women have made towards him. Jonathan Pean says level up, and Phil with 2 Ys. It says, "Are you planning on growing Level 1 eventually? Bring more people in. Great show as always." We have 3 people.
like we're sitting around. It's like, all right, no more growth.
We're done here.
Stop.
Josh Hartwig gave us $3.
We have 3 employees, so
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of bringing in more people, that's yes. Please tell your friends. Like, why would we not be trying that?
I thought he meant maybe more like expanding the team out kind of thing.
We have kind of.
Yeah, we've got 3 employees.
You got to be very careful with that.
Yeah.
What's happening in the main chat?
Does anybody have any last thoughts or anything that they want to share?
Thoughts?
Jordan P says, "Happy New Year to all." Well, Happy New Year to all of you. Thanks for hanging out.
So far, it's been all right.
Yeah.
This year's been okay.
So far.
How was your 2022? Like let's look back at our 2022s before we go.
2022 was kind of like just flavorless.
Yeah.
I had some good memories in 2022, but mostly it was just kind of like, yeah, treading water for the most part.
I actually feel pretty good about 2023 in terms of I am so much like my health. I feel like it's so much better now that I'm off the PUFAs. And I'm finding new PUFA-free foods every day.
You don't want to try a Pocky stick?
I think that 2023 is probably going to be better for me, but probably worse for a lot of other people.
Is that box still over there?
Yeah.
Maybe worse for me. I don't know. For different reasons.
You're on the upswing though, right?
Yeah, I think so. It feels like I am.
If you get to the end of 2023 and you're still exactly like you are now, how are you going to feel about that?
I'll be fine. I mean, I would actually be okay with that because it's not worse.
You'll probably be in great shape.
Yeah, well.
Let's just listen to all the poison that's in these. Krista calls them pokies.
It's pokey. So if you've ever watched an advertisement for these, like the TV commercials from back in the day, they always say pokey. But here in the U.S., I usually hear Pocky.
Remember the famous movie about the boxer, Roki? Mm-hmm. We've got, right off the bat, just in the wheat, we've got rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, and Illipe butter. I don't know what that is. That's probably okay. And then hydrogenated rapeseed. It wasn't enough. Also, it's funny because in Japan, they don't call it canola.
Yeah.
And then, that's just in the wheat. And the chocolate, I guess, vegetable oil shortening, soybean, sunflower, hydrogenated palm, hydrogenated rapeseed. Again, my God. High fructose corn syrup, obviously.
Oh, chat suggests we do different chili peppers. That would be interesting.
Chili pepper challenge. My lips are burning.
I do grow peppers in the summer. Maybe we can do that as like a mid-year.
Well, may contain eggs.
Right.
Makes sense. Peanuts. Yeah,
There's
totally.
not technically peanuts in it, but I could see it.
Shrimp. What?
Then maybe they manufacture the same place like ramen's made.
Yeah, the chitin dust can be a real problem.
Sometimes YouTube picks weird things to hide for review, and people saying rapeseed oil are getting flagged right now.
You gotta turn that off on our Twitch channel. It was just getting out of control.
Van life home lab rig tutorial.
That would be a lot of fun for Kristen.
Oh,
I would love to design a van. I think there's such an interesting design challenge. I don't know if I'd want to live in one, but
we're probably gonna see a massive used car apocalypse.
Yeah.
You might be able to get a van.
I would like a truck more than anything.
We sent you, it was at the height of the global thing when everything was crashing. Those it was like $5,000 on like a $35,000 vehicle that was like tricked out for van life, and you were like, no, I don't want to do that. They're just, it's like our dealership is closing. Please just take this vehicle for $5,000. It's like,
I need a truck or a Jeep or something I can haul stuff in. The amount of times I've hauled manure in my car is non-trivial. Not unbagged manure, but
thank you all for hanging out. We're back to a regular schedule next week, I think.
Yeah.
So, fun times.
It will unfortunately be a short news week, though.
Oh yeah, because we're doing it early.
Oh, yeah. Fun times. Yeah, because, yeah, it's fine. All right. We'll see.